And we're live. Greetings and salvations. I'm Unthoff Neverborn, the abyss that slumbers. It's time to light the candles. It's time to chant the rites. It's time to summon demons on Eldritch Rants tonight. And welcome on to our show, the show where we dare to ask the question, if wishes were horses, would we not all be married under mountains of quivering horse flesh? The answer to this question and many more will be answered by our panel of experts, including Gwendy Wook, who is currently kicking off her apology tour for unlawful acts committed against a beanbag chair, as well as Farty von Bumstink and Kekistani Tranny, who together formed the truck nuts of the internet. Yes, they are large, pendulous, and very rubbery. Welcome to the show, everyone. How's it going? I believe we have a bunch of topics as usual, but Farty von Bumstink had a very interesting story they wanted to share, and I think we're going to start with our lead story. But before we do, anybody have any comments or anything?
No.
All right, I am dying to hear about this. Our current international terrorist, Farty von Bumstink, is going to relate to his arrest, incarceration, and the various other, things that were inserted into orifices, as I recall.
Oh my God!
No, that shit happened, but fucking, yeah, the terror.
Well, anyway, go ahead.
All right, now this is going to sound like a fucking long joke, but I kid you not, this actually fucking happened, right?
I love your joke, though.
This is the epic dumb fuckery I have to put up with in this country bumpkin piece of shit town, right? Fucking, all right, for the last 4 years, right, I lost a business and I've been crawling back to get on my feet with just 2 pensions, right? Me and my mum were all in this together and fucking, so, right, now, we've sorted our debts because my grandmother carked it and her fucking house was worth a couple of $1 million, so, hey! And now all I need to do is get my shit together and get a job. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a traffic control ticket, which has taken me 4 and a bit years to get, which I actually still haven't got, by the way, and 3 different employment service providers that don't actually provide an employment service. Now, this third one finally gave me this fucking ticket and this course, right, but I'm still fucking going through that shit. Now, I've got to the stage where I don't need them anymore because they keep fucking threatening me with legal action. Because, like, of inactivity. It's everybody else's inactivity, not fucking mine. Anyway, so I've got to a point where I can fuck everybody off and just focus on my own shit. So I did that. I fucking rang them up and, I told them in several occasions in no uncertain terms to leave me alone. All right. And then the last time I fucking rung them, I've basically said to them, leave me the fuck alone or else. So I go off to Port Macquarie, my car's up there and it's 100 k's up the road and it's getting repaired, right? I'm no fucking clue of what's going on. So I'm joking too. I'm thinking, yeah, what's the bet they'll take that the wrong way and call the cops on me? Anyway, so nothing happens during the day and I get home and sitting down for about half an hour, a fucking knock at the door come down, 2 dickhead cops. Oh, we're arresting you for offensive behaviour. Oh, fucking what? Fucking really? Oh,
You for offensive behavior? How is that possible?
Never in a million years would I have ever imagined that would happen to you.
Oh, of course, I'm an abusive cunt, but I was abusing the company, not the individual. Like, for fucking sake. Anyway, so they dragged me down the fucking Taree cop shop, right? And no shit, they're sitting there and they've got the wrong fucking story for a start. What this bitch said that fucking I'd supposedly said to her was that she'd used up all of her chances to do something or like to stop contacting me or something like that. And I was going to go and fucking... So it turns out, right, every cunt thought I was going to chuck a Rambo on this Sheila when I wasn't really pissed at her. I was pissed at the company she works for. I asked for a fucking manager.
Pause for a second. Did you say you're going to throw a rainbow on a Sheila?
Rambo, as in John Rambo.
I thought you said rainbow, so I was really confused. Please continue.
Oh, yeah, well, shit, that wouldn't be my problem then if she... Phobic. But anyway, fucking... So, yeah, no shit, right? And the cops are running around fucking Tara Road looking for me. I'm like 100 fucking Ks up the road, none the fucking wiser. And yeah, no shit, she's fucking carried on like, oh, she was so fucking scared and all this. Now she's got PTSD and all this. I feel sorry for her husband because he's an Afghanistan vet. He's a soldier that's been to Afghanistan a couple of times apparently, and fucking when he goes through this shit, oh fucking hell, I feel sorry for him because she's gonna shit on him. Anyway, fucking.
Wait a minute. She had PTSD from what?
From him.
Because I said, if they don't leave me alone, my next response would be armed, and I was referring to sending the cops around. And then when the fucking dickhead coppers fucking come around, they go, oh, what's this armed stuff? It's like, you carry a gun, don't you? You carry a taser, you carry an extendable baton, you carry pepper spray, don't you? I'd class you as being armed. Oh, that's not fucking funny. Anyway,
oh my God.
Yeah, no shit. So being interviewed, right, and there's this dumb fucking senior constable who then fucking says, oh, have you been paying attention to what's going on around the world? And I'm like, yeah, what exactly? And he's like, you know, these terror laws that we've just brought in. Oh, get fucked, you stupid fucking dumb cunt. Fuck off. Don't fucking bung that fucking shit on with me, you fucking moron. Well, he didn't know what to fucking say after that. Anyway, so... yeah, no shit. They were going to try and charge me with fucking terror charges and everything.
You should have said, yes, every week I run a political program where I discuss world events.
He didn't fucking like it too when I said, yeah, I probably actually know more about that subject than you do. Well, I fucking do. Like, you can't hold me responsible for having an interest in something that fucking occurs in the world. I mean, like, shit, what would you rather me do? Be a dumb fuck that's not paying attention? Anyway, so yeah, no shit. They're going to be fucking throwing this crap at me. Put me on an apprehended violence order, which is just like a restraining order, right? We call them out here an AVO. Now, here's the fucking thing, right? This is what this dumb fucker's done. Like, she's supposed to have helped me get a job, helped me get the accreditations, helped me fix my fucking head, and helped me, you know, get back to being a tax-paying member of society. What she's actually done, she's restricted my movements, she's restricted my abilities to go and get fucking employment, and fucking now, even if I do get a job because of the types of jobs that I do get, it's going to be like, I'm going to find out within 5 minutes that I'm supposed to be going within 50 feet of this fucking idiot. So, right now, I've got to go and get fucking legal aid, which means that I've got to go back to the government and fucking sort them out, which means that I've also got to go and find another employment service provider, and the only other employment service provider is in the same fucking building as this last lot, so I can't go near them anyway. All this over the word armed, right? Like, for fuck's sake, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
That's
no
so
shit.
funny.
And then they go like, you know, you had them in lockdown today. Oh, fuck off. What? Oh, my God. What a bunch of prima donna fucking cocksuckers these cunts are. Yeah, the whole point of the matter is, right, I was trying to get these cunts to leave me alone. So what do? They send the whole fucking world after me, and now I'm going to go to... The whole started because they didn't listen. I wanted them to leave me alone, then they did this. Also, too, the cops don't understand one simple premise, that I've got the whole recording on tape, and they've been told some bogus information, so I'm going to fucking crucify these cunts.
Oh my God.
Well, it's good that you made the recording, man, because...
No shit, though.
But, man...
Well, that was on the dash cam in the car, and I didn't think of it until later, and then read the statement that she said, and she's totally mixed everything around, and I'm like... Oh, you're a dumb cunt. Oh, fuck me.
Why does this sound so... Oh, wait, I went through something myself like that at my job, but...
So basically, the women's have been afraid of the big burly man, and now, please, go and help me. Go get him. Now, I asked the fucking cops, and this is, like, going to bite them in the ass too, right? And I asked them this. So when I've told them to leave me alone, and then in no uncertain terms leave me alone, what's my next recourse? And the bloke sat there fucking looking at me like I had two heads. So, yeah, that's going to bite him in the ass too. Yeah. Like, no shit, that actually fucking happened. That's the level of epic fucking retardation I've got to put up with here.
Wow. Well, when you need to flee the country, you know, give me a call. We got a guest room we can put you up in for a while.
Yeah, no shit, that might happen too, because I can see this going really fucking quick.
I mean, part of me is why are you having a hard time getting a job?
Because where I'm at, there is absolutely no employment whatsoever, and nobody to improve the situation. Like this dickhead fucking.
You're a firefighter, right?
I used to be. Hang on, there's issues with that. Fucking this dickhead fucking senior constable said that fucking, you know, there's systemic problems everywhere. I know there's fucking systemic problems everywhere. The dumb fuck also said that I should use my U-Butte resume to go, which is what I'm fucking doing, you dumb fuckwit. Anyway, fucking. So, like, the easiest way to solve the employment problem in my area is to go with coal seam gases, like coal seam gas mining, right? No one wants to do it because they don't want, mind you, these are all old people that are fucking saying this too. They don't want it because it's going to affect their property prices and it's going to undermine their properties and they're going to get sinkholes and shit. They're going to be fucking dead for 50 fucking years by that fucking happens. Fuck off. I need to eat now. There's realistically no jobs, right? I don't want to go back to truck driving because, yeah, like strapping a 13-ton battering ram to my ass isn't really a good idea. The only other realistic thing, there's a lot of jobs with construction and all this kind of stuff, so traffic controlling. I've done that before in the fireys and all this kind of stuff, and all I needed was the accreditation to go and do it. And yeah, like just trying to get the accreditation out of the first two fucking employment service providers was like pulling fucking teeth. It just never happened. And they'd rather you sit on the dole because they get paid for you being there pretty much. So they've got no interest in wanting you. Other than that, basically the only thing that's readily available if you've got the accreditation is either fucking sales work, which, yeah, you don't want me working in sales. I just don't get along with the public. Or traffic controlling. Now, I'm focused on that. I've invested quite a bit into just doing that to get into that position there. And, yeah, it does look like right at this point in time I'm about a second away from fucking getting back on my feet and they're about to pull the rug out from underneath me again. Tell you the truth, guys, I can't fight this again. I can't go through another 4 years doing this. I'm already tapped out. Fuck this. If they fucking go and pull that shit on me again, I'm going to go and take myself out of the gene pool.
No, don't do that.
Hey, I got a weird question, man, for you.
Yeah.
Well, could you get a job firefighting technically? What's stopping you?
Yeah, sort of, kind of, yes and no. Now, the way...
Well, no. Well, I mean, if it's kind of yes or no, you know, why don't you try applying here in the States, man? California's burning. In fact, we're going to be talking about that later.
Well, I've got to deal with this first, but...
Why? Well, if you've left the country, does it matter?
Yeah, because fucking... I've got a court attendance notice or a summons, so...
Well, I mean, yeah, but it'll take a while for you to apply for a job somewhere else, but, you know... My God, I know they need firemen around here in New York. I mean, God, they don't have enough.
Come to Minnesota. We've got a shit ton of jobs right now.
Yeah, I know that. You'll probably find it's really difficult for me to get shit now. It's like I've got a criminal record now, so... Hey.
No. You're an immigrant. You're an immigrant to America, and you know, don't worry about that. Like, they don't care. We bring in immigrants, we let them murder people, and then we like give them probation and send them home.
That's not necessarily true, because if you go through the legal route to become an immigrant, it's a lot harder.
Well, he's not actually going to become an American. He's just going to work here. Like, as long as you're not going to collect benefits, they don't care. If you're going to come here, you're going to pay taxes, not collect benefits. Yeah, you're welcome. You know.
Okay. Right. Well, with the rural fire service, where thing that was it used to be known as the volunteer bush, and then they changed it to the volunteer bushfire service, and then the federal government decided they were going to chuck in money too and then make it a proper actual thing, and that's when it became the rural fire service. So that's all unpaid work, right? So I basically ran into buildings to save people's lives for free,
like a volunteer firefighter.
I've been blown up once and presumed dead twice, just to get alone. Yeah,
wow.
Fucking no shit, and the explosion was a training accident too. Yeah, don't put 6 pallets and 40 litres of fucking fuel in the bloody bell. Anyway, yeah, that didn't end well. But anyway, fucking with New South Wales Fire Rescue, which is the paid proper thing, right? The jobs are basically a dead man position, so they're only basically taken in when people either leave or die. And the last time I tried doing that, I was both overqualified and underqualified for the same job at the same time.
How?
Yep.
Explain this.
They were looking for experienced firefighters and average Joes off the street. Now, by experienced firefighters, what they actually meant was RFS and retained firefighters, which is another thing, part-time firefighters that actually do get paid per job. They were looking for those guys, RFS with rank and retained firefighters. Now, because I was a firefighter and nothing with rank, I was underqualified for that. Now, they were looking for average Joes off the street, and by the mere fact that I've ridden in a fire truck once dictates that I am not an average Joe on the street. So therefore, I'm overqualified and underqualified for the same job at the same time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
You live in bureaucratic hell.
Yes.
Hey?
Holy
You live in a
shit.
bureaucratic hell.
Well, that's another thing I've just realised too, is that fucking all these young cunts that are carrying right now, yeah, you just wait, because I've just realised that fucking when I started work, we were still allowed to drink. In fact, one paint factory I went to, I was working at, fucking there was a pub up the street, and we'd used to go to the fucking pub at lunch and get fucking drunk. We'd just wait until the manager went back. So yeah, half this shit has been built whilst every bastard's been fucking drunk. So have fun fixing all of that, you young bastards.
Oh my God.
No, but I'm serious. And if you ever reach a point where you're just like, you can't take it anymore, I understand you've got society and, you know, like friends and family and stuff. But if you ever like, you know, fuck it, give me a call, because part of my job is actually finding jobs for people. So, you know, if I can't find you a job here, you know, I'm not doing things right.
I kind of need to really fix my head first, but I need money to do that.
Well, if you're in New York State, they got a lot of free health care for people, unfortunately.
I might actually be able to get away with that, because apparently I'm
sorry, you cut out there?
Yeah, apparently I'm on New York's electoral roll, so I might be able to do that.
How?
I have no idea, but they wanted me to vote for Hillary.
Why am I not surprised?
I actually linked it to a Facebook.
Oh my God, you hear about all these stories about them, like dogs voting for Hillary and dead people voting for, yeah, we're getting Australians to vote for.
Yeah, I actually linked it to my Facebook page, and I put a post up saying, well, if Hillary wins.
Well, you live a charmed life, my friend. You live a charmed life.
Yeah, just don't get credit from the people who fucking count, though. Anyway.
At any rate, that was interesting. Anything else on this particular topic? I think that was a great way to start off the show.
No, that was very funny, though.
Yeah, well, Superman was flying over down on this rooftop apartment, and he seen Wonder Woman there. She was enjoying herself, and he thought to himself, well, I could probably go down and get a quickie in before she even notices. So he does that. He flies down, gives her a quick fuck, and then pisses off. Well, Wonder Woman looks up at the fucking Invisible Man and says, do you feel that? And he goes, yeah, but now my ass is sore for some reason.
I've heard that joke before, though.
Oh, my.
Right, I'm done for the moment.
I love your jokes. They make me so happy.
I had to sneak a joke in there anyways, because the first one really was.
Alrighty, moving on. British Museum. I'm sorry, what?
Hold on. Before you start, I do want to warn you, I may have to dip for a few minutes, but I'll be right back when I do.
When the cops pull you up for being on the phone?
No, I have a headset on, number one. Number two,
kidding.
because I have to drop off my son.
Okay,
really sharp turn.
Hey, no problem. Whenever you need to, it's cool. We'll just babble for a bit.
Yeah, and I can come back. It'll only take me like maybe 10, 15 minutes.
British Muslim political candidate denies ISIS exists, stating people die every day.
What?
Well, he's not entirely wrong.
I mean,
Well, I mean, we recently blew it up, but his point is that it may have been, just a joke apparently. But 25-year-old law student selected as the Labour Party's new candidate for a city council in England claimed that there was no proof that ISIS is real. Instead, she blamed the government and the media for the terrorist attacks.
Oh, it's a she.
oh my God.
Sophia Noor, political advocate and school governor. Do I
What's a
even need to
school
get into?
governor?
Yeah, I don't even know what a school governor is, other than she handles children. Which, for the
Is it like a
love of
principal?
God, I don't know. It's British, probably their British version of it.
Oh, that'd be like a
Like a superintendent?
governess, and if she's a female, the actual a governess basically is someone who you pay to look after your children.
Like a nanny?
Would anybody
Ah.
do that thing
Kind of
to
like a
people
nanny,
on
but in England, like with the school system, they class it sort of like a headmaster type deal.
Mm.
Yeah, she backpedaled a bit, but I mean, just this is England now. So
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
retarded.
I just jumped out at me as something. I don't think there's much to say here, other than what the f.
Was it didn't happen to be in Birmingham, Islam?
Birmingham Islam, yeah, the Birmingham
Oh,
Islam.
Birminghamistan, that's the word I was looking
Birmingham is down.
for. No,
At
no,
this
well,
point,
like,
that's
yeah,
probably pretty accurate.
It is, because
gosh.
it's fucking scary too, because what they've done is they've basically portions of Birmingham and they're trying to put kind of stuff. It's places where the cops don't even want to go.
They're basically
Okay,
doing a
I'm
two-state
really sorry,
solution.
but I'm really sorry. You keep cutting in and out, and I have no idea what you're saying. What about a two-state what?
Oh, in Birmingham, they've basically chopped the place up into no-go zones. There's places where the cops won't even go because they're afraid of getting killed.
Oh, that's really fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, it's happening all over Europe. It's especially bad in France. In France, it's so bad they are openly talking about a two-state solution. I was kind of joking about that.
Oh, yeah. We talked
but-
about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's crazy. You don't need
Yeah,
a
well, this
two-state
is-
solution. They need to become French.
This is another thing that dumb fuck Copper said, right? Like, why did you use the term armed? Well, why not? And they said, well, who uses the term armed for police? Well, the British do. Oh, but that's not everywhere. It's like, have you been to England lately? Armed response guys are fucking everywhere now. I actually couldn't
They
get over it.
wanted to blow it out of proportion. They wanted to blow it out of proportion. It had nothing
Yeah,
to do with
'cause
them
it's
actually thinking they were threatening. They wanted to blow it out
Yeah.
of proportion.
Yeah, because they're bored out here.
No, it justifies their existence. Oh, look, somebody threatened to murder everybody here. No, I said the next response would be for the police. If but it's that's the problem with language. It's all sorts of weird turns of phrase. We thought you were
Yeah,
talking about rainbowing her. So
Yeah. Well, it proves my point even further with that no one's fucking listening because they've got everything completely wrong.
That's so funny.
nah.
Fucking rainbow.
At any rate, moving on. Canada concerned about returning ISIS fighters. Justin Trudeau says.
I
Chuck
love
a
Justin
rainbow
Trudeau.
on-
I don't care what anyone says. That man has got the nicest
them.
butt. He does. He's so handsome. I would have that man's babies. I don't even care.
What if his dick was covered in warts?
You know what? If he puts a condom on it, I'll pop a little bitty hole so I can at least get the fucking semen. I'm okay.
Oh my
So
god.
you'd rather the rib for her.
Well,
pleasure than-
that's an interesting comment because under Justin Trudeau, 180 Canadians have gone overseas to join extremist groups, and 60 have been welcomed back into Canada since 2016.
Well, at least they
Throw a
came
rainbow
back.
at them, they'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. We're going to monitor them. Yeah, Justin Trudeau, good job there.
Shut up. I love Justin Trudeau. He's so cute. I could just pinch his cheeks.
That's how he got elected. That's how he got elected, because he has a nice
Probably
butt.
how he got elected, because he's got this nice butt. Have you seen his butt? It's so nice. I just want to grab it.
I'll take your word for that, Gwen.
I'm sorry, that's like literally the running joke with like every female I know is, have you seen Justin Trudeau's butt? I'm like, God, yes.
Yeah, and that's what shits me is that like everyone gives me shit for being involved in the Pippa Middleton Arse Appreciation Society, but you're allowed to go and.
Shall we move on to something a little more silly?
Yeah.
Sure.
Belgian artist, of course he's from Belgium, Mike Pops recently chained himself to a 4-ton block of marble and then attempted to free himself by chiseling away at it. His goal was to demonstrate how the inescapable burden of history imprisons artists. And you gotta see this block of granite. It's bigger than him. And 19 days later, he gave up and asked to be freed, admitting that he had underestimated the marble. Despite this, I don't see it as a failure. On the contrary, I've been able to communicate with the public. I am now going to read the many comments in the guest book and take a warm bath. Here's the crazy thing about all of this. You wanted to get free, dude, you take the chain, you put it across the block of marble, and you cut the chain. You don't try to chisel through 4-ton block of marble.
Well, he was trying to make a point.
I understand.
I bet you the interaction with the society that he had was them laughing at him and him laughing at me.
In all fairness, though, it's Belgium, so most likely they were like high as kites.
Oh, and they were probably
like,
applauding, like,
man,
oh, he's so brave.
Cool, man.
He's so brave.
You're such an artist.
You'd have to be fucking stoned to do that shit.
Exactly.
Do it.
Stoned?
Oh, God, yes. I mean,
either way.
that's why he quit after 19 days, because after 19 days, he's like, but I can't get my pot.
Well, I mean, my question is, if you're chained to this giant block, how the fuck are you going to take a shit?
In your pants.
In public.
Yeah, that's, well, I mean, it's a pretty long chain. Maybe there was a toilet. There was a bucket nearby in the picture. I'm wondering if he took a crap in the bucket.
Oh my god!
Who's the poor bastard that had to slop that out?
Shut up! No!
I just...
Come on.
Oh, there was a bed nearby, so he could sleep too.
You guys are like gonna make me sick.
There's a bed nearby, so you can shit the bed as well.
Apparently so. I've underestimated this block of... What the fuck did you think was going to happen? I don't know.
Apparently he thought he could get through it better than that. I have no fucking idea.
He's like, how many blocks of granite, of marble have you chiseled through to begin with? I don't know.
Well, if he wanted to be remembered and, like, you know, be famous for that little instance, he should have had someone, instead of cutting him free after 19 days, shoot him in the fucking head, because bloody artists aren't famous until they die.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that would have been funny. Like, I couldn't get through the block and then shoot me in the face.
You guys are horrible.
Shoot me in the face.
Alright, I'm gonna be gone for a little bit. I will be back.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Now, did anybody even hear about the shooting in New Mexico?
Nah.
Didn't think so, because it's like only 2 people killed. So, barely on the radar at the New Mexico high school shooting. Like 2 people? Please. But the Aztec High School and in New Mexico, guy pretended to be a student, snuck in, and started shooting people.
Was it an ex-student that goes there, or just...
Well, we don't know much about the guy right now. Details are kind of up in the air. However, they had to shoot through a locked door to get to the shooter, and they found the suspected shooter dead. So he's only suspected, even though he's a corpse who shot himself. He had a 9mm pistol, multiple magazines, blah, blah, blah. But
I don't understand the suspected part of it. I mean, like, you are innocent until proven guilty. Even if, you know, you're caught raping some bitch and your cock's still in the bitch, you know, you're still innocent until proven guilty by the word of the law anyway.
Yeah, okay, I can kind of see that. Rule of law and everything here, but the thing that the part of this story that gets to me is that this was Thursday. Okay? And I have searches set up to look for obscure stuff, and it's like this showed up on one of my obscure topics searches. I'm like, you'd think that a mass shooting in a school would be like in the main news, but no, I didn't even hear about this. I had to hunt it down.
I think the the operative part of it is only 2 people got killed. It's not juicy enough.
Yeah, I mean, we've really raised the bar on our mass shooting. So 2 people barely qualifies as mass. That's more of a both shooting.
Well, I thought that was a double homicide, and I thought anything.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It might only be a double homicide.
Yeah, multiple homicides and stuff like that. But like now they're talking about fucking only 2.
Oops, found that found. What happened?
Oh.
I don't know. My internet cut out for a second there. Anyway, my comment on this isn't the shooting. I mean, what's more to be said about, you know, a shooting in school other than, you're right. You know, it's only a double homicide, so it doesn't even get on the world stage.
I'm pretty sure the novelty's worn off out here too. So,
how jaded we have become. Any rate,
yeah.
Moving on. Any comments on this?
Well, he was a useless cunt because he couldn't even fucking kill more than 2. Well, shit. Nah. Anyway.
Yeah, I kind of
waste your time shooting up a school. At least do it like in a grand way, like at least 10 people, so you can make the news.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, mass shooters always do it wrong because they always commit suicide at the end. You need to kill yourself first, then you can murder as many people as you want. So if you're planning on mass shooting, kill yourself, then go kill anybody you want. Okay? That's advice from the Eldritch Rants show.
My advice is if you want to go and kill a bunch of people, walk into a police station and do it.
All I come back to is talking about killing people. Are you shitting me?
Oh, yeah. Last Thursday, there was a shooting at New Mexico Aztec High School, and 2 people killed by a guy who snuck in. I think one of the people, like 2 people who were on staff, like managed to, I don't think it was chase him off. They kind of like protected the kid, so he got himself caught in a room when the cops showed up. And then alleged shooter shot himself, we believe.
Oh, come on, Bob. Don't bullshit to her. We were talking crap about her while she was gone.
Well, that too.
Yeah,
that too.
Thanks, guys.
We were blaming you
I
for the
love
mass
you
shooting
also.
because you drove him to do
No,
it.
you weren't.
Yeah,
No, you don't. No, I didn't. Shut up.
Okay, moving on. I just want to make a comment about science on this next one. New dinosaur looks like an odd mix of duck, crocodile, ostrich, and swan. I'm looking at this picture and I'm going, why? I mean, this obviously is, every once in a while you run into these scientists who just come up with something completely off the wall stupid and you realize they're just digging for funding. And this is what this one is. I mean, this is the dumbest looking thing ever. I don't think this thing actually ever existed. You must have made this up.
A lot of things.
I'm sorry, you said something? Oh, and it flippers like a penguin. So it swam. So it's only 18 inches tall, 75 million years ago in Mongolia. And I don't know, it's like a mutant, it's like a fully grown mutant platypus.
That's beautiful.
You really got to sort of kind of watch out with these scientific things nowadays. Being a debunker, you showed me that it doesn't really mean much when something is peer-reviewed, because there's a peer-reviewed paper that says that the World Trade Center towers were brought down by thermite, where this peer-reviewed paper went through a place called Bantham Media or Bantham Publishing, and that's a pay-per-publish thing, and they'll send your documents off to everyone but who's in that field, and they'll sign off on it saying it's true and correct. So,
driveway.
Yeah, like, can't really take everything scientists say with a grain of salt nowadays.
I just like the name of this thing. Oh, no, go ahead.
The only problem I have with peer reviewing is, if you're not going to have someone that's actually, like, unbiased reviewing your shit, then I can't consider it a peer review, because you can have, like, 5 other people review your shit that all completely agree with you, and they're going to say, oh, yes, this is great, blah, 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 blah. And then you get the one person that's like, well, wait a minute, no. And then the whole fucking world, like, crashes. And that doesn't make sense. If you're going to ask for peer reviews, you should go ask people who have no, like,
who even disagree with you. So,
saying.
yeah, so you have some sort of argument there.
Yeah.
We got way too much scientific echo chambering now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's
right.
the way it's supposed to be, but like you've got this mob out here now, like that say for instance, an engineering paper will be critiqued by a medical doctor,
Wow.
a surgeon, anybody like a psychiatrist, and anybody but an engineer, and they'll all come back and say, "Yep, that's all fine."
And that makes sense. Like, that totally makes sense to me. But to just sit here and get like a bunch of your friends looking at your shit, no, that's not a peer review to me. That's a crock of baloney.
Well, these are random. So if you join Bantham Media, they could be sending you papers to critique, and you've got no qualifications in anything to do with it at all.
We should start doing peer reviewing here.
Are you getting paid to do these?
The peer reviewers are, and they even tested this out. There's another program you can get off the internet where it'll just, like, you press, click on something, and it'll just, make an essay of just random fucking words.
I remember that thing.
Yeah, it's legible and intelligible, but it makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever. They're just English words put in a way that it seems like it's a sentence. And people
Well, if you put enough
review
monkeys
those.
in a room with a typewriter, eventually they're going to write Shakespeare.
Yeah, and people peer review those, so...
Oh, but I just got to share the name of the creature. The Halshakaraptor.
What?
Halshakaraptor. It's the dumbest looking thing you've ever seen, but it's the Halshakaraptor.
I'm not high enough for this yet.
They should have called it dumb fuckers Tyrannus.
It's got a mouthful of tiny teeth. It's got a beak, a swan. I mean, it's just the stupidest thing ever. But I just like the name. But it's such an intimidating name, the Halshakaraptor.
So what was this thing again? Because I kind of missed it.
75 million year old 18-inch thingy found in a sand rock in Mongolia.
18-inch thingy.
Yeah.
If you asked it, it'll just identify itself as a mollusk.
Oh my god, it's a tail.
Think about a longer-necked platypus, sort of, except it's white.
You forgot the tail, Bob.
Oh yeah, the tail. That is just one hell of a tail.
You know, right, when they first found the platypus and they took a specimen back to England, they actually thought it was a fucking joke.
Well, it is.
What?
It is. It's kind of a jokey looking thing. It's so weird looking.
It was so weird looking. They just thought that, like,
It
nah,
is
you've
weird looking.
stitched a bunch of shit together.
That platypus is like the strangest thing on the face of the planet, though. How the fuck did that even come to be?
It's because it's Australia, and Australia evolution forces you to do some weird shit.
Yeah,
Apparently.
pretty much.
That's all like,
Yeah.
damn, nature, you're scary.
Yeah, they only hide in the water to get away from the drop bears. They don't like getting wet.
Oh, I don't like those either. Oh.
Any rate, this
everything
jumped
else
out at
fine?
me, but the only reson I'm doing it, this one, oh, I'm sorry, was there something else you guys want to say? Okay, this one jumped out at me because it's from the Sydney Morning Herald, and your neck of the woods.
Shit.
And I was,
not
they're
the
talking
Herald.
they're talking about Venezuela,
Herald.
and you want to know what they're talking
Yeah,
about in Venezuela?
What are they talking about in Venezuela?
Doesn't
What they're
Doesn't
worried
matter.
about? Okay, you go
Doesn't
ahead.
matter. The Sydney Morning Herald is a Labourite focused fucking paper. Whatever they say is absolute bull and full of shit. If you want to get your story straight, go to the Telegraph.
Well,
Anyway, continue.
I love the title. Here's their concern about Venezuela. Even sex is in crisis in Venezuela, where contraceptives are scarce. The food? Nah, who gives a crap about that? The oppressive government? Nah. The fact that you've got, like, actors riding helicopters to bomb their frickin' Supreme Court? Who gives a crap about that? No, we're worried about the lack of condoms.
Well, I don't know about fucking Venezuela, but it usually is a thing that fucking rapists don't use condoms, so fucking I don't get it. And, like, I'm pretty sure that most sex over there isn't very consensual, since, like, from what I've seen on Best Corp.
I mean, even then, like, there's nothing saying rape statistics are higher. It's just that they have no condoms. So apparently what you're telling me is that they haven't perfected the pull-out method yet.
Apparently so. I mean, everything's in short supply in this place, but it's just, in my opinion, it stood out as
Not
like,
the babies.
well, apparently not. But it's just struck. Well, I mean, that's how communism goes. Well, they're not. They're socialists, but whatever.
Are they?
Are
they though?
Yes, they are. They are by definition.
sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. They're socialists. But
I don't
here's
know,
the
man.
thing, man. It's like what a weird thing to be focused on. You know, of course, the problem is the fall in oil prices. It isn't the complete corruption of their system or the mismanagement and the fact that the guy who's running the place used to be a former bus driver. No, it's the oil. They have more oil anywhere than on the planet, and they can't make any money.
But you just got done telling me that condoms were the problem. Now you're telling me oil prices are the problem. What's the problem?
Well, oil prices are what's causing the lack of condoms. I don't know. Perhaps it's the lack of lubricants. Like, if you can't properly lubricate those. Pennzoil. If it's good enough for my car, it's good enough for my woman. I mean,
oh my God, no,
I'm sorry.
stop.
I'm sorry.
What they should do is they should plant a shit ton of rubber trees so they can
Make their own?
Yeah, diversify. That may have been a good idea, but...
Oh, God, no. Stop, you guys. Stop.
15 home remedies to avoid pregnancy, including eating papaya twice a day and drinking 2 cups of tea with ginger. Have you tried
neither
that?
of those are going to do that. No, neither of those will work. I can guarantee you.
It's from a Venezuelan website, Cactus24.
I think I know what the problem is over there. I think pissed off because they don't get the rib for her pleasure action.
Yes, the feminists are so pissed off they're not getting ribbed for their pleasure.
Oh my God, don't stop.
In the meantime, in Venezuela, the price of amyl nitrate has gone up as well. It's gone up, and the putas are up in arms. They're up in arms to about their elbow.
Oh!
There's a joke in there, and I'm not getting it.
He's up in arms, and he's talking about...
Amyl nitrate, for someone who doesn't know, is it's a muscle...
Okay.
Gay people sniff it, and it apparently relaxes your bumhole.
Well, yeah, it's a muscle relaxer. That makes sense.
Yeah, so they're up in arms. They're up in arms to their elbow.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's actually a visual joke because you're supposed to only go, they're up in arms to about here and point to your elbow.
He can't handle you. You gotta stop.
Well, don't watch Jimmy Carr because I got that joke off him.
God damn it.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
Oh.
Anything else on this topic? Because I love Venezuela, but we should move on. Representative Franks offered $5 million to a woman to carry his child. I don't know if you heard about this one. It's like the latest of sex scandals from the Democrats and whatever.
So the young bitch said no to $5 million.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He's a Republican. Oh, I apologize. I did not know this one was Republican. I've just been assuming.
Let me pause for a second. So he offered someone $5 million to carry his child, and now he's in trouble for that?
Yeah, he repeatedly pressed a woman to act as a surrogate mother.
Yeah, okay, so, like, was he, like, being an asshole about it?
Apparently, she felt he was being stalky about trying to get her to...
Okay. Because I was going to say, otherwise this story isn't a story because that happens with surrogates all the fucking time.
I think the problem is that I'm actually reading this. I'm beginning to wonder if he didn't want her to carry his child, like the egg will be implanted, to, I want to get you pregnant.
It would probably be the second one for $5 million.
Yeah, for $5 million. But she refused to look over the contract.
I would totally. In all fairness, $5 million, I will gladly let you put your dick in it as long as you don't have any diseases. Just give me the $5 million first.
The part that I don't get is, okay, he's been in office for 8 terms, so in my opinion, it's probably time for him to go anyways.
Probably.
She should have got money and run.
But if somebody offered you $5 million to have a baby...
I mean, do I get to keep the baby?
No,
he gets the baby. He's buying the baby from you.
I got a joke.
Oh no!
I got a joke. Who wants that joke?
I mean, I mean, you could go with a turkey baster or something instead of like the penis if that's a problem. But it's like,
yeah, but sex feels good.
Yeah, but if you've got my thing is why did he keep harassing the same woman? Like, if you got $5 million to throw around for this, like, go on the internet and say, I want I want somebody who looks exactly like my dream person to have my baby, and I have $5 million to give you.
I would accept that in a heartbeat.
I
Hey, I'm with it.
I got a joke
I want to
about
hear your
people
joke.
turning down money. Turning down money for sex things.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
All right. There's British Army base, right? And there was a Marine and an Australian Special Air Service bloke, and they were all challenged to this thing. They got to walk through a room with a fucking gorgeous fucking naked woman sitting in the corner, right? And they got to go from one edge of the room to the other without cracking a fat, right?
Without what?
So getting a stiffy.
Oh, okay.
Crack a fat, get a stiffy. Anyway, so the Irish bloke goes first, and he's like, "There's no better women than over in wee Bonny Island. This woman is not going to affect me at all." So he walks in, takes one look at her, he cracks a fat, and he's out of the fucking story. So the Royal Marine, he's going, I'm just going to be all regimental and stuff, and I'm going to keep my head and eyes to the front. I'm going to march from one end of the room to the other, and I'm not going to look at her one iota. So he goes and does that, but he gets to the other door and he goes, fuck this, I've got to have a look. And he has a look, and he cracks a fat, and he's out of the question. And so the Aussie SAS bloke, he's like, shit, how fucking good can she be? Look, he looks in the just pokes his head through the door and goes, fuck, she is that good. So he was out of the thing, right?
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, the Fusilier was actually Scottish, by the way. Anyway, so I've already fucked this joke up. Later that night, they're in the barracks and they hear this weird fucking sound, right? And they look out the window and all they can hear is this thing go, "Och me doodle, och me doodle, och me doodle." And they're looking, what the fuck? And they see this Scotsman out the front with his cock out in the log, and he's beating it with his rifle. He goes, "I'll teach you to turn your nose up at fucking $5,000. I completely fucked that joke.
Yes, you fucked it up.
That was ridiculous.
I fucked it up because the Irishman was supposed to be Scottish.
I gotcha. Okay. I get it though.
You're funny.
Alrighty, moving on.
All right.
1 sec.
1,
2,
3.
Okay. This one. Okay, from Fairbanks.
No, wait. What was that sound?
I have no idea.
Oh, that was a sound of Bert. Well, say Bert really slow. Bert. How you spell a fart? I used to even have this thing called the game of Bert, and right, I used to work for a company called Captain Snooze, and we delivered beds on the weekends, right? I had this little 16-year-old offsider, right, and the first day I went in, I was hungover to fuck, and like I picked this kid up, and I'm like, fucking shit, I hope I don't get some old bloke fucking just talking shit about what he used to do, and he's thinking the same thing too. He's thinking, I hope I don't get some old fuck that's just anyway. So we see each other. We were both pretty young. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So on the way to the first drop, I go and get a feed of bloody Macca's, a bacon and egg McMuffin and all this kind of stuff. And when you have those after a good night out in the piss, you get some really juicy farts going. We get to the first joint, right, and I'm doing this bed up, and I've dropped the silent one. And next thing you know, fucking Luke, me offsider, he's looked over at me and like, fuck, man, this joint fucking stinks. Oh, man, these people are fucking feral. I'm like, yeah, I know, just don't say anything. So we do a couple more jobs, and I've dropped a few more in there, and he's like starting to think that everyone's a disgusting cunt. Anyway, we get to the set of lights, and I've just surreptitiously rolled up the window and dropped one in the cab, and he's just like, oh, it's fucking you! So that's where the game of Bert is in Bert. We used to have points for getting the customer in the room as well, like points for in the elevator. Fucking
there were actual rules. Did you ever write them down?
Oh no, not
it's
really.
like Game of Thrones, except the thrones are toilets.
Yeah, but Luke couldn't fart, right? So all his claim to fame was fucking mooning people. So like we were driving up Anzac Anzac fucking parade in fucking Maroubra, like while people are coming back from the beach, and he was getting points for generations and shit if he mooned like the kids, the parents, and the grandparents all in one go.
Oh my god!
So yeah, you'd be standing there waiting for the bus, and you see this white truck come up, beep beep beep, and an ass hanging out the window, and no one said shit about that.
Oh my god!
There you go, the game of bird.
That is great. Oh my god.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. We're gonna be bringing it down to something a bit more serious here.
Okay.
I bet I can make some fun out of it.
I'm sure you can.
In Fairbanks, a 37-year-old man was sentenced Monday to 45 years in prison for sexually abusing a young girl under his care, who told the judge that he was a feminist and pacifist who had earnest conversations with the girl about gender equality and how she should expect the same respect of any man. Once again, proving in absolute no uncertain terms that all of these male feminists are either pedophiles or rapists, or in this case, a pedophile rapist. We talked about this last week. This guy is the overachiever that I've been looking for, Mr. Wexelman.
Hold on. How old was the girl?
They abused the girl for 6 years between 8 and 14.
Oh, man, no, that's fucking disgusting.
Yo,
Who
yeah.
Set the car on fire.
Ugh.
Yeah, I will have to carry the... I mean, this guy, he's like talking about how women, far too often, both science fiction and fantasy, objectify women. It is something that nerds and prison inmates have in common. I feel like I have a unique ability to bring the concept of gender equality into the way they think about the future. It's like, holy fuck, this guy just went down swinging as a social justice warrior. I mean, he just went balls to the wall with the SJW.
Warrior as a fucking pedophile rapist. That doesn't compute.
What was this shit about fucking prison inmates being pedophiles?
Oh, nerds and prison inmates are basically the same to this guy.
Like, fucking, well, yeah, send this cunt to prison and fucking call him a kitty fiddler. Fucking hate those cunts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Jacob. Look at that. Another male feminist caught being a pedophile and predator. You know, it may not have started out that way, but obviously all of these pedophile, predator, rapist BSers looked at feminism and said, wow, those feminists are protecting the men who join them. Let's become them. Like, I don't know why, but oh God, it's just disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Any male who says he's a male feminist, he should probably be arrested on principle. It should just be made a crime because you probably did something. We just haven't caught you yet.
That's not fair. I know a lot of male feminists that haven't done anything.
No, you know a lot of male feminists that you haven't noticed that they've done anything.
Okay, whatever.
Conscript them. Fucking conscript the bastards and get some fucking corporal to beat some fucking sense into them.
I mean, I don't know. This is just one example out of how many that just keep coming up and up and up and up, and it's just disturbing.
Send them to Russia and get fucking Putin to put these cunts as fucking Russian army mine clearers.
That'd be awesome.
Because you know what Russian army mine clearers do? They block their ears, they close their eyes, and they just walk straight. If they blow up, well, there's a mine.
Oh.
Yeah, that was their methodology of clearing minefields. They herded people into the minefield.
I really love their hostage negotiations. Fuck the hostage.
Oh yeah, in Russia, I believe it is standard operation when you have an hostage. Shoot the hostage first. I mean, that isn't joking.
They do try and save it, but it's a kind of a like, yeah, you expect the Russians to just like, oh, you've got, well, no, you don't anymore. What you going to do now?
Well, I mean, the policy is if we do that, nobody will be stupid enough to take hostages in the future.
That's my rationale.
So. That's awful.
It is, like Russia has. I'm not sure if that's currently the way things are in Russia, but it did used to be like that.
Oh my my gosh.
No, yeah, the bloke who took over the Link Cafe, if I ever got my fucking hands on that bloke, if I had actually been there, I would have dragged the little cunt out fucking kicking and screaming. I would have bent him over the fucking bonnet of the first car I found, pulls his pants down in front of all the cameras and starts spanking the cunt going, naughty fucking boy, don't fucking do that fucking again, you fucking little shit.
God.
Yeah, fuck off.
You have such graphic imagery.
But you film it and you send it around the world and say, this is what happens when you be a hard cunt. We'll just make you look like a fuckwit.
Oh my God.
It would certainly be, I think embarrassing people does work a lot better as a form of punishment. It really does.
Yeah. And especially, too, when you consider, like, terrorists want to scare people and you show them you're not, in fact, scared of them. In fact, yeah, you've got a hard-on for fucking making them look like a fucking fool. Yeah. There's that joke about Susan Boyle, you know. She got a fucking Congressional Medal of Honor from Obama because of her work in counter-terrorism. And it turns out that, like, people don't really want a virgin when they find out what one looks like.
You're so... That's fucked up. Why?
That's not one of my jokes.
Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Oh no, I can't handle you right now. Holy shit. Moving on,
God.
please.
Moving on.
I'm in a funny mood.
Give me a second.
Oh. Okay, that is not a place to park your little minivan. I'm really sorry to tell you. Oh my God, people.
I'm sorry I
What
parked
is
my
that
minivan
mean
there. It's the only place I could find.
But that's not a parking spot. That's literally the middle of the fucking freeway.
Any rate, moving on. Firefighting. Thank you. Firefighting at Christmas may become normal in California.
Yeah, it's normal
Oh
here.
my gosh.
It's absolutely normal here.
Yeah, a week of destructive fires in Southern California are ending, but danger still rooms. Now, I want to go over this a little bit here because I've been looking out and I've been following up some of the conspiracy stuff. And some of it, like, they've got some weird things to point out here, which is a lot of places where these fires started, there's been that hydrofracking going on.
What is that?
Nothing to do with
That's where they drill down deep into the earth, and then they force liquid down there to fracture the rock and force hydrocarbons and oil to come to the surface.
It's also known as coal seam gas mining.
Yeah, but also the same time there was a bunch of earthquakes in the area along right where the fire started, which makes me wonder, I'm wondering if maybe there have been gas leaks. And then you had some nice little earthquakes go off, and it wouldn't surprise me if those, leaking gases out of the ground ignited somewhere. Because this isn't the first time this has happened. I've seen that there's apparently a repeated problem in California.
Yeah, no. It's nothing to do with any of that. It's simply just the weather cells and systems that are made by the fires themselves. You can get hot, dry days. You don't even have to be hot. It just needs to be dry and preferably a lot of wind. You get a small fire going and it'll start perpetuating itself. Good example, gum trees. They will explode 50 feet in front of a fire front. Just because of the radiant heat will start breaking down the leaves, and the leaves contain eucalyptus oil, which is rather flammable. And once that happens, you're basically creating an explosive or a flammable vapor, and the fire can actually rush several feet in a split second, just taking up all of that fuel, until it gets to a point where the stoichiometric ratio doesn't support fire anymore, and then it just sort of sits there for a bit and then works on heating up the radiant elements around it. Now, this coal seam gas thing has got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with El Nino or El Nino.
Oh, really? Because the person I saw seemed to have a pretty good case for it caused the start of the fire.
Like, okay, here's like, right, I'm with the Rural Fire Service. We fight bushfires. That's our job. Like, I fucking know this thing like from the back of my hand.
Right, I was going to say it's nice that we have.
No. I take your opinion first. I'm just mentioning.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Well, whatever you got told by this guy, he's full of shit. But anyway, so what happens is that you get a large fire going, and that'll put lots of smoke in the air and all this kind of stuff, unburnt matter. And what that'll do is that'll create a heat layer underneath the smoke. and that'll basically bring back summer conditions. It'll perpetuate the conditions that the fire will travel in, and as soon as while the fire is getting bigger, it's just perpetuating this cycle even further. So,
well, my question is, what's starting the fire though?
Yeah, because it's been repeatedly in the same area, and it's always like there's the earthquakes, the fire.
No, if it's repeatedly in the same area, I'm telling you now, it's going to be an arsonist.
Really?
Now, yep. Now,
once a year, same time, over and over.
Yeah. Forest fires and bushfires can start from fucking anything, really. They can even start from the magnified light from the sun through a drop of dew. Right, that shit's actually happened. Now, it could very well be that this is a particular spot where people just happen to throw their cigarette butts out, but I'm putting it to you more that it's a repeat offender who's an arsonist, and this does typically happen with arsonists, that they're people who love fire, they love the action and all the flashing lights and shit, but for some reason can't get into a fire service. So typically one of two things will happen. Either they'll start the fire so as they can go and put it out themselves because they can't be a firefighter, or they'll start the fire just so as they can watch all the action happen. Now, obviously they haven't cottoned onto this yet, and obviously this bloke isn't doing it every second week, but yeah, that can happen. And there was a fellow in Cheyne Park who transferred up from somewhere way down south, and they were having one every Wednesday at the same place, the same time of the same day, every bloody week. They would have a fire in their area, and they knew it was deliberately lit. And this is
but
where
see, that's the thing. They have no evidence. They have no evidence that it's been deliberately lit.
Well, have they found the seat of the fire yet?
Well, see, that's no, they haven't. They don't even know what the cause was.
Well, there you go.
For this one, but I mean, it's the same thing every year, and I'm sure by now they would have determined whether or not it was an arsonist.
Well, wait a minute. No. If it's once a year during the same time period, and the guy's very careful, I mean, that's hard to establish a pattern of once a year.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
Well, and even then, that just makes like no logical sense though, because they would still have to investigate the fire after it was finally put out, figure out what started it.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you're talking about a fire ground that big and its starting point being that large, you kind of sort of like have to find that little point first where the person's gone and touched off with a cigarette lighter.
I mean, you got to understand, when I'm looking at these pictures, imagine a mountain. Now imagine the entire mountain is burning. Literally. The mountain is burning.
Yes, like the state of California is on fire right now.
Now somewhere on that mountain, a guy like, I don't know, dropped an M80. So
well, there was a fire years ago where I think 7 smoke jumpers got killed in it, and that was started by a bushwalker who had burnt their toilet paper.
A what?
A bushwalker who burnt their toilet paper. They basically.
What is the bushwalker?
Kind of like
someone who walks in the forest, like a hiker, pretty much a camper.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we call it bushwalking out here because you're walking in the bush.
You're like, what the shit is this noise?
Yeah, but like, you know, when you're talking about a fire ground that big, to find where someone has touched off the beginning of it is pretty extreme. And in some cases too, like this bloke from down south, the way they found him is he went out and he lit a fire one day and it didn't really take off. So he went a bit further and then he lit another one. And what happened then was, while his back was turned, this first fire actually picked up, and he's turned around and then found himself trapped between 2 fires. And what that does is the 2 fires, and this is the way that a backburn and a hazard reduction works, is you light one fire in front of the fire front, and the 2 fires will suck all the air out between the 2 of them, and then you'll have 2 converging wind patterns blowing the fires onto each other. So that's what happened to this bloke, was that he was now trapped in between these 2 fires, and the wind is coming in, blowing him into himself. So he got trapped there and burnt and died, and that's how they found him.
Holy shit.
Ouch.
Yeah, so it's not really as easy as sort of like, well, hey, there's a fire. Must have been deliberately lit. We'll go and blame this cunt. Sometimes we find them when they're dead.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, if you're an arsonist, there's a pretty steep learning curve, I'm assuming. Although something I wanted to bring up here, since this is California, California is probably one of the most eco-friendly states ever. They're obsessed with ecology and all this stuff, yet they seem to burn all the time. And they're not in a drought anymore. They're getting water. They've got all the money in the world. They claim they have all the money in the world to build reservoirs and all this other stuff here. Why do they keep burning? And the only conclusion I have is that their government is corrupt as hell. Because it's the same sort of thing that happened down in Louisiana. I don't know. Right before Katrina, they were like going, the dikes that were rated for Category 4 hurricanes collapsed because apparently nobody had spent money on them for over a decade. They'd just been putting money after money in their pockets. You know what? I think that if you actually had, I'm going to say it, Republicans in charge of California, it wouldn't be burning every year. I'm just saying that they would find a solution.
I'd put it to you that the solution actually, in fact, is to tell the greenies to fuck off and let you do hazard reductions.
Oh yeah, like I'm assuming the reason why there's all these problems is because you've got a bunch of people who are putting feels before reality, and we've got to protect the horned owl penguin thing. Look, we got a picture. It's 75 million years old. Some bullshit like that. And in the meantime, they're just creating a fire hazard that's going to kill a bunch of people.
But you should maintain species, though. That's important.
I'm all for protecting species because we have no idea what genetic code in the future we're going to need to chop up to make giant bioengineered monsters to serve our wills. Okay, I'm all for protecting biological diversity because we might need that DNA to make all sorts of funny stuff. However, we need the DNA. We don't need the creature. So if we could just, store some samples somewhere, we'll probably be fine.
Shut up! Oh my God, no!
I'm pretty sure you guys don't do hazard reductions anywhere in the States.
No, well, no, most places now, no. Yeah, we don't.
I'm pretty sure that's because the fucking greenies don't want the smoke and all this kind of shit. But what they don't realise is that a lot of plants, and even in America, a lot of plants actually germinate through fire. So you actually need to burn them every now and then.
Right, it's called a controlled fire. We have those here.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, we call that a hazard reduction in New South Wales, and we run the same thing out here too. The greenies don't want us to burn, and they basically hinder us with all this stupid paperwork and all this that takes months. So we'll put in a plan to do a fire next week. Well, by the time we've sorted out all the paperwork and all this kind of stuff, it's now 3 or 4 weeks away. Now we don't have crews that can do it. We don't have the equipment that can do it. And all this, so it's got to get put off, or maybe even if it rains, well, you can't even do it anyway. But what the greenies don't understand also too is that it's not a fire that's going to devastate the area. We specifically do it in the winter time when the conditions are correct and all this kind of stuff. When we've checked out the fuel loading and the risk assessment and all this, and it's supposed to be a very, very low intensity fire just to remove the undergrowth. It's never supposed to crown, and that's what they don't realise.
But there's a turtle. There's this turtle, and the turtle's gonna get hurt. Did you see the video of the guy who ran into the fire to save a wild bunny rabbit? It will restore your faith in humanity.
It
Rabbits
did.
Are fucking
It indeed did.
Rabbits are fucking vermin out here. We run our barns over. It's
no, you don't. No. By the way, that's not a joke.
It was so cute. Like, I thought that was the sweetest thing.
Yes. No, I'm with you. It was very sweet, but you risked your life to save a wild animal. What about all the people who depend on that person? What about all the people who need that person to be alive? What if he ran into a fire and died trying to save some stupid rabbit? Nothing personal.
He ran into a fire and died trying to save an animal, which is a very noble thing to do. So
yeah, but his wife and children aren't going to care about that. He's going to be dead.
Really sad, but shit happens.
Well, yes.
If he's dumb enough to risk his life for a fucking rabbit, then fucking,
I mean, in all fairness, I'm gonna break for a deer. I'm not gonna hit it. So.
No. I'm with you. I mean, I save animals too. I'm all about it. But there's also a part of me that also goes. There's a part where I go.
I don't know how
there's
much
a limit here.
Risk my life for it, though. Yeah.
It's funny you're talking about burning rabbits. We did a pile burn one night on someone's property, and basically a pile burn is when you clear a land, you put it all in a big pile, we come around and burn it for you. So we set this thing up, we put a couple of incendiaries in it, and then we lit the bastard up, and as it was going, all of a sudden we see this fiery thing go running out of the fire off into the bush, and then
oh my God!
The fire went out, and then it turned into a black smoking thing running off into the bush, and we're like, fuck it, it's gone.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
really
Well,
funny.
there's a question for you. I'll ask, but I just want to mention since you brought that up. Did anybody ever see the video of the guy who tried to burn a mouse and it ran into his house on fire and set his house on fire? That was awesome. That was awesome.
about
That was instant
He
karma.
deserved it.
Instant karma.
Fucking sucked
Instant
in.
fucking karma.
Instant karma. Like, if you're being malevolent about it, I mean, an accident, I understand, but that was malevolence and you had it coming. But question for you, by the way, I'm better. Didn't Australia start a war against a vermin problem? I'm not entirely sure what he's talking
Yes,
about.
we did. Yes,
I heard
we
you
did.
guys had like a really bad mouse problem.
We've got mouse plagues. We've got rabbit plagues. Even the kangaroos are considered.
You don't have
There's a
cats?
huge... Yeah, we got cats. I've got 2 of them. It's just where these are is it's out the back buggery somewhere, and 1 cat or 2 cats aren't going to do shit. Like, we're talking about millions of mice, like carpets of
Right.
mice.
Carpets.
I've heard.
Carpets of mice. Holy
Yep, there's
crap!
the famous-
I'm okay. That's new.
There's the famous Australian rabbit fence, which is up in the Northern Territory to keep the rabbits away from people's properties and stuff like that. Yeah, like you used to make tons of money. You go out shoot rabbits and you'd sell the pelts to a Kubra to make hats. They used to make fucking tons of money out of that.
Cobra?
A Kubra, AKUBRA.
What is that?
It's a hat company. They make an
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm thinking a cobra. You sell them to snakes? And... Wow.
I wasn't understanding what that meant.
Now, the war he is talking about is the war on the emus. Now, please don't say emu,
Oh my God.
because emu sounds really fucking
Emu.
Emu.
It's emu.
Emu.
Right, emus. Right, yeah, emus were that bad at one point there that the Australian Army actually had to go
Aren't they
out.
that like really ugly
God.
flightless birds?
They're like
like an
ostriches
ostrich.
but smaller.
They-
And
they
they're
basically are an
terrifying.
ostrich.
They look like rats with
They're-
wings.
no.
No. An
No,
ostrich is a
they're-
giant bird.
Right, no, it's slightly smaller than an ostrich, so it's a little more human size.
Oh,
Like
I'm thinking
my
of something
size.
else.
And the major
Right, like-
difference to an emu and an ostrich is that, being Australian, an emu will fucking go you.
Yep.
They will kick up and drag their claws down your guts and slice you open.
Yep.
Now, yeah, we actually sent the
Holy
army out.
crap!
Yes,
Jesus.
you didn't know this? Are you for real? Like I know this.
I
Most
did
people
not
are
know that. I
terrified.
thought they would look cute. I thought, oh, look at the cute, the
No,
kitty.
fuck
I mean,
no.
they're cute, but they're
And
like
it's gonna
terrifying
freaking
as
knock you
koalas.
down and
Koalas are
gut
cute.
you.
Dude, no,
The
they're
bird
like-
is
they're
like,
like
I'm gonna
koalas.
cut you.
They're
I'm gonna cut you
scary.
deep.
Yeah, and if it doesn't slice your guts open, it'll peck you in the fucking face. Now,
Yep.
we actually sent the army, the Australian Army, out to fucking deal with it, right? And after, like, with modern rifles and fucking machine guns and shit, like, mind you, this was back, like, I think it was between World War I and World War II, so we had bolt-action rifles and old Vickers machine guns, or Maxim guns, as you guys had known. But fucking, and they lost.
What?
The emus pushed us back. I was there
my
for the
God.
great battle of
Oh my
Emu
God.
Canyon. You
Yeah.
know, my father died fighting the Mew so that you would have the right.
Here's a huge
Oh my
eye-opening thing for you, right? Right. I think it was the Battle of Beersheba where we had the last run of the Light Horse Brigade. There was a whole mess of shit like Gallipoli and all this kind of stuff. We had at this point in time like a really mad, like don't f with us kind of a reputation. In World War II, we were the first to stop the Japs in Papua New Guinea, and we not only stopped them, but we turned them around. And not only that, we did it with reserve troops as well, right? We were the first to stop the Germans in the Western Desert. We held, El Alamein. We held that for, God knows how long till the British could come and replace us. And the Battle of Tobruk, and all this kind of stuff. So, like, and if you have a look into the Battle of Long Tan, which was in Vietnam, we had 58 blokes go up against 500 Vietnamese, and we won. But we lost against a fucking bird. That's how hardcore our fucking wildlife is.
Well, it's an Australian. I mean,
out of the Australian Army.
that is hardcore. That is hardcore. Because I'm seeing this. I'm seeing like an emu in the bush, like getting some ash and mixing it with water and then putting like smears of black under both eyes.
Oh, they don't have to.
Putting on a little
like that.
Then Rambo emu.
Yep.
Putting on a bandana and getting ready to like gut you.
Rainbow emu.
Rainbow emu. Rainbow emu. We need a picture of that. We need a T-shirt of that.
Yes.
The emus are so fucking hardcore and sadistic. They butt fuck bloody drop bears for fun.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! No! I'm never going to Australia.
But I'm seeing.
Never go to Australia.
You have to have this image of this social justice warrior who's all greeny going into like the outback, driving in a car, and it's like, oh look, it's an emu. I'm gonna go up and get a picture of it, dear. And she gets out of the car. The woman goes, maybe you should go. Oh, it's just a bird. And he goes over to the bird. And he says, hello emu, I'm gonna take a picture of you. And then suddenly, next thing you hear is, my God, it's raping me. The emu is raping me. And just the bird just starts raping this guy. It's like, you, nah. The guy's like, what? It's just, and the woman just, you don't see it. You just hear the screams, and the woman just rolls up the window.
It was about 2 years ago. There was a famous bit of footage where dude, like, his dog was being attacked by a kangaroo, and this no punches his fucking roo in the and the roo's just like, huh? Oh, well, bugger off. And the roo jumped off, and everyone was carrying on about, like, oh, so nasty to that poor kangaroo and all this. Like, no, fuck it. It was killing his job. His dog. Fucking go fucking
Oh, I
punch
remember
a fucking
that.
thing in the face.
I remember that. And no, a lot of people were like, oh my god, that's so brave. Because fucking kangaroos are like assholes.
Yeah, he
We
was
know.
fucking brave doing that.
No shit.
Unless you're in
a lot of people
California, in
go-
which case they need to be protected.
No.
They'll be protected until fucking they slice someone open. Or everyone will want a pet kangaroo because you can't have.
Oh my goodness.
I hate this country. I fucking hate it. I'm safer in Africa.
I will never visit you. I am a tiny human, and I would be like eaten alive.
By the
The minute I
toads,
step off the
probably.
plane.
You'd be like, hey, look, it's
I'll
a
tell
toad. And then a tongue would reach out and be like
That's
swallowing your
that'd be
face.
bad.
And you'd be
It's
like,
so-
ah!
I'm so tiny. I am so small that I am sure that would happen.
Nah, I'll tell you what, Gwen. When I go back to fucking Sierra Leone, I'll invite.
I would consider coming to there, but don't they have snakes or spiders?
Yes, places have snakes and spiders. They're pretty much everywhere on the planet.
Shut up.
There's a snake
don't
and spider
like-
probably near you right now.
I don't
Yeah,
like
they're not really
spiders.
the
I can
ones that are going to
handle
really
snakes.
hurt you.
Just, no.
See,
Okay.
the difference
Okay.
between the snakes in Africa and the snakes in Australia is the snakes in Africa. Oh shit, you're bigger than me. You're going to eat me. I'm going to go.
You keep cutting out.
"Ooh, I'm going to eat for a year.
You know, your conversations are much more interesting, especially since you keep cutting in and out. Because I hear like the snakes in Africa, there's
I
like,
know,
snakes in it, and then I'm going to eat for a year. And I'm like, man, you know, just filling in the missing parts.
Just
is
those little-
interesting.
Oh,
I'm
the
Don't crash.
fucking,
No, I'm parked now. I'm good.
The brown snake, like the brown snake is absolutely renowned for fucking bite ya. It'll wait till you drop and it'll actually hide underneath ya because it knows that if this person is found, the bloke's going to quickly just go up like, fuck mate, you were right, get right up to him and then roll him over or something like that. And that's when the brown snake will get you. Like those things
my-
will fucking ambush you.
Oh my god, that's terrifying.
Yeah, they're fucking smart.
Well, no, and then it's an arms race in Australia. I mean, really is. You know, you got to
Yeah,
be
man.
first
No,
than the other
I'm
guy.
never going there. I
The
will
animals
never
are
go
winning
there.
because I'm not allowed to have a gun.
I will never go there. Nope.
Well, if
No,
when you need to
no,
get out of Australia,
no.
let me know. We'll have to hook you up. All right, moving on. Thank you for the fire. I mean, I think that we've covered the topic of fire on this one.
Yeah.
We did.
For a while, for like maybe 10 minutes, and then we moved on to other shit.
Yeah.
Okay, silly time.
Oh.
Ice
Yay.
cream shop's Cow Derriere logo gets icy reception. A New Jersey ice cream shop is changing its logo of a cartoon cow with a pronounced derriere after the play on words drew complaints that it was sexist.
Wait, how is that sexist?
Apparently, a cow with a
derriere?
big butt is sexist.
Oh.
Because the
How is
cow
that
is cows are females, bulls are males.
But what does that have to do with anything?
Because it's a cow, it's a female, and because it's got an arm
The
about fucking women's
But
asses.
it's not being sexualized. It's just a cow.
You
I mean,
tell
The
them.
Creativity
how is-
Caravan. The Creativity Caravan wrote an open letter to the community saying that she was repulsed and offended.
They should write a letter back saying the creative
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the
was the worst Spielberg movie ever.
What the
Like
fuck?
a Caravan of Courage joke, no one got it.
Sorry.
yeah. Here's the thing, though. I mean, unfortunately for this ice cream shop owner, we've reached the point of maximum saturation with the moral panic. If she stood up, she would probably get further than backing down from this craziness. There's nothing
well, they're
sexist
probably
about a cow
gonna
with a big butt. Nothing.
No, well,
Even-
no, because it's a cow.
It's a freaking
How
cow.
is
They're
that
going to ban
sexist?
the.
I understand the
probably
weird
gonna-
logic, but it's
How? Where is the logic in that? There's no logic in that. It's just a cow.
my response would be, oh, you are so fat phobic. You are oppressing plus size people.
What the fuck?
You know, you obviously are. You. This isn't sexist. You hate fat people. That'd be my response.
Oh my god.
I would get just as crazy back at him.
I reckon the next thing they're probably going to do is ban the ice cream itself.
Well, see, the thing is, these people are never happy. It doesn't matter what you do. Any backing, and now that she is back down, she's going to get sued because you admitted that you were in fault when you backed down. So now it's open season. They will tear this company apart. She will get sued because you admitted it. You were sexist. You admitted it. You know.
Where's Johnny Cochran when you need him?
Yeah, I mean, this owner is their company's done. You cannot, if you have a company and you're listening to me right now, you cannot back down to these people ever. Anybody sends you anything crazy like this, you go, no, you're dead wrong. There's no apology, no nothing. You're an idiot. I am not sexist. I'm not any of the stuff you're accusing me of. Go away, or I will get a restraining order. Because if you admit to anything, they will destroy your livelihood. They will. This person's
I got
life is
some
over.
advice- I got some advice for any company. The Australian, tell them to get fucked.
That's pretty good too. That's much more succinct than me, but you can't.
No,
You
I'm
can't.
SJW. You gotta worry about my get fucked.
You can't.
Oh, fuck off.
You can't give them an inch. You can't give them a single millimeter, or they will destroy you. You know. Speaking of, moving on. Apparently, are you guys familiar with Wizards of the Coast?
Not really.
Well, they're one of
It's
their
a
gaming group.
game company. They do like they
Magic-
do the magic cards and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
Yep.
Magic the Gathering. kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
What?
Yeah.
They are banning people because they like memes.
What?
Yeah, they are starting to ban people who play their game from like their Facebook and their whatever their I think they hold like tournaments and shit because they went onto websites with memes they didn't like.
Well, I can totally believe that. I've just been arrested for you.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast has gone full on SJW, and this is the death of Magic the Gathering. I used to play it a long time ago.
I still play it. I have 2 boxes of cards in my back seat right now.
Oh yeah, no, I had Mox Gems. I had Black Lotus. But anyway, apparently the social justice warriors have taken over Wizards of the Coast. It's why Dungeons and Dragons has gone to shit. There is no Dungeons and Dragons after 3.5. None.
I agree.
You know, the 3.5 is the end, but Magic the Gathering is going
have
down
you played
too.
Pathfinder.
I've played it on and off. You know, I don't like a few of the rule changes. It's much more wizard heavy. You know,
Fair
and the nerfness. You did not need to nerf monks. Monks were already nerfed. But
Well, I
anyway,
thought the whole point of that was you got to make your own. Like,
I mean-
the base rules, but like you got to make.
You
up
were
bits and
I mean,
bobs
as
in there.
as a DM, you can change the rules to suit your game. It really depends, but most people just go with the rules.
The rules are pretty good. I mean, and hey,
Yeah.
I've mentioned this before if anybody's interested. I wrote the Encyclopedia Vernaculum Draconis, which is 112 different handbooks interlocking with just about everything you need to properly power game in Munchkin. So I never finished
love
it, but
Munchkin.
it's still pretty good. You know, I did, you know, there's a lot of stuff in there in case anybody's interested. So Encyclopedia Vernaculum Draconis. But at any rate, enough of my own plugging. I see the death of Wizards of the Coast because of this. Seriously, and that's not hyperbole. That's when you start banning people who give you money from giving you money, that is a poor business model.
Yeah, well, with technology progressing.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. Start back over the beginning with technology progressing.
Yeah, with technology progressing, like, wouldn't that be kind of like a dying art, sort of similar to like UHF?
Card games, yeah, I mean, card games are already pretty expensive. I mean, I know one guy who had a land destruction deck that must have, when we added it up, must have been like $500 or $600 for 40 cards. I mean, it was an insane amount of money, but I will admit, you never played this deck more than once because he could win by round 3. It's sometimes round 2. You were just dead. He just utterly destroyed you. He spent you to death. It was like the Cold War. You know, you spend your enemies to death with money. That's what Magic the Gathering is. And they want to stop people from spending money on their game.
Oh, so it's basically Monopoly with fucking...
With an unlimited amount of cards you can buy, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's the way I win Monopoly. I'd just try and fucking make everyone broke.
Yeah, that's basically some of these people, if you want to keep up with them, it's insane. Like, but it's also a fun game because there's a lot of different ways you can think about how it interacts and stuff. But they're so concerned with political correctness now over at Wizards of the Coast that there's no way you can't do that. You can't tell your employees to your customers, we don't want you here because we don't like your ideas. Your money's no good.
But how can you be fucking politically correct with fictitious characters?
Trust me. They found a way.
Well, I kind of need to slap them cunts in the head. That's just stupid.
You and me both. Although, admittedly, Arch Warhammer, who's a big fan of the Warhammer 40K, he's already taken a stand. He said, they're going after Games Workshop. No! This far and no further. You know, he's like Gandalf on the bridge right now. Like, because the feminists are going after Warhammer 40K. It's pretty...
Send him a message. Send him a message. Tell him to get on the...
You keep cutting out, man.
Yeah, this fucking computer. Oh, that's the NBN. The UB.
See, now you cut out again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're coming in from Australia, so we should expect it to be a little spotty now and again.
Thanks, Telstra. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say anyway.
Well. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Another national monument eyed in Montana as others are reduced by Trump. Basically, in case you guys didn't know, Obama, like in his last couple of months, went around and made a whole bunch of new national parks to protect areas, which basically, you know, in certain states, like 2/3 of the state are owned by the federal government. I think that's like Utah because of all of these protected, you know, monuments. And so Donald Trump is like saying, hey, maybe you should own your own state. And he's giving the land back to the state to decide what they want to do with it. And everybody's calling him a monster because there's a big, huge pile of rocks that looks kind of like a nose that Donald Trump says, why the hell are we protecting 5,000 acres around this thing?
No. That's not exactly it. It's like the national park system isn't necessarily monuments and stuff. It's a lot of it is like, how do I want to explain this? Because we have a lot of national parks here in Minnesota. We have a shit ton because we have so many fucking lakes. There's a lot of lakes here. So it's like, it's about preserving the environment because a lot of these areas they do have protected species that live there, and it's got to do with that. I understand the need to, want to sell land if like the state were to so choose for whatever reason, because it depends on the state. But a lot of these areas, there's really nothing there anyway, other than trees.
Well, yeah. My thing is, though, I have a problem with the federal government telling the states what to do. Like, if the state wants to make it a park and protect it, fine. That's what the state should be allowed to do. But the federal government has been telling Utah and all these other places what to do for a long time now. And
I can see where he's coming from with this, because like if you then the federal government is the one that's going to foot the bill. So you've got every other state paying for your shit. But if the state governments manage their shit, then it's not going to be a burden on the rest of the country. And that's what they should actually be doing. That's what the point of their governments are, is to govern their own shit. But they keep relying on the feds.
Yeah, in my opinion, state governments, I'm okay with them having some amount of overreach, because at least to some degree it's somewhat local, but the federal government is not local. They don't know what's...
Yeah, that's exactly right. Your local government's supposed to be there to look after the locals, and the federal government's supposed to be there to make sure that your local government isn't a... That's basically it.
Like... In all fairness, though, I understand where you're coming from to a point, but I'm sorry, I don't agree with you.
That's the way it works here.
I don't agree with that, because I do believe that our national parks are important, and I do think they should be protected. I understand having them on a federal level. That makes sense to me.
Oh no, I mean there's certain things that should be. I mean, there are certain things of national importance, like fields where the dead are buried from like wars on American land. I can understand that being the federal government's job, but 2/3 of Utah should not be the property of the federal government. 2/3 is a little excessive. When the federal government owns more of your state than you own your own state, that's too much.
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, we got National Parks and Wildlife Service that covers the entire country, and that's a federal-run thing. Then we've got state forests in New South Wales, and that's a state-run version of it. So you do get the funding from either way and all this kind of stuff. It's just that like the local government's supposed to figure out their local shit, not to rely on the federal government. The federal government's there to give them assistance and make sure they're not fuckwits. But in the meantime, it's the locals that are supposed to be looking after the locals, not the feds. Because the feds, let's say, for instance, someone in California, well, the monkey in Washington couldn't give a shit, doesn't know what's going on in California, unless the local representative from California goes to the monkey in Washington and says, like, well, this is what's happening. Can you do something about it? That's the way that kind of stuff is supposed to work. And, you have your national parks and all this kind of stuff, and you have them sorted with like your local government, so they can determine like how it's best used for them, and not from someone 500 miles away trying to dictate over the phone. So
there needs to be a balance. I think it's just gone too far lately, but that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
Give me a sec.
1,
2.
Alrighty. This one just stood out to me as the height of stupidity. Nobel laureate. If atomic bombs exist, disaster is inevitable.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, no. I mean, how long have we had nuclear weapons and it hasn't ended the world yet?
But in some cases, like you had a bomb fall out the belly of a B-52 once, and I think it was in South somewhere, and they had to, like, didn't detonate or anything like that, but it did leave a lot of stuff laying around that I don't think really picked up.
I'm sorry, I haven't given you the full quote here. We're facing a clear choice right now: the end of nuclear weapons or the end of us. This is from Oslo, Norway, where apparently we must abolish all nuclear weapons or everybody on Earth will die.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they're talking about. I mean, look, I get to understand that you want them controlled, that maybe we don't need more nuclear bombs than necessary to kill everybody on the planet 7 times. But on the other hand, we have stopped many wars because of the threat of nuclear weapons. America and Russia would have gone to war if there were not bombs to drop on each other.
Mad. Mutually assured destruction.
Yes, it does work. It stops the big guys from fighting. It doesn't stop the little wars, but it stops the big ones. Okay.
It put me out of a job fucking when I first started working. I was trained as a Cold War soldier, right as a Cold.
I mean, something that stood out to me was they were talking about, oh, Donald Trump could drop the bomb at any time, and then they actually talked to a general and said, no, he can't. Even if Donald Trump right now said nuke X, there is so much in the way that it would stop it. The only way that could happen, that he could launch it with no notice, is if we had detected missiles coming in from another country, like right now, and we only had like 15 minutes warning.
Yeah, like, and that's the idea of the football.
Yeah, unless there's incoming weapons, he cannot nuke anything.
Exactly.
So all of this talk about an impulsive tantrum is going to cause the world to end is nonsense.
Yeah, these are people who aren't affiliated with the military. They've got no idea what's and all this kind of stuff. And they're the people who can't understand that Korea absolutely.
And you cut out again.
Ah, fuck. Where did I cut out?
About halfway through.
Hang on. Let me just go and fucking rejig me input fucking things for a sec.
That's okay. You work on that. I'll babble for a little bit here.
Right.
Yeah, you babble for a minute because I am trying to park again.
Okay, not a problem.
I succeeded. Yay! Okay.
I mean, the main thing of that, I mean, it's from Norway, okay? The same place that brought us that psychopath who murdered, what was it, a reporter in his submarine and then claimed like it was, you know, an accident. Like, but that said, by the way, I still need to get around to the, you know, the feel-good murder of the year. That all said, nuclear weapons are a deterrent because nobody is crazy enough to use them. I'm sorry, you said something?
See if I can try and do this without it fucking shitting itself. Now, what did I say?
Well, anyway, the big part of this is...
Yeah, that's right. These dickheads who fucking want to perpetuate all this bullshit about fucking nuclear holocaust and all this kind of stuff, they have absolutely no idea about the world's militaries and all this stuff. And the Korean conflict will be a conventional war. It will not be a nuclear war. It absolutely can be done with conventional weapons. And they don't understand this simple premise.
Oh, well, the thing is, with people don't realize what North Korea is doing. He's not threatening America. He's just a demonstration model. The North Korea wants to become an arms dealer. They want to sell weapons. They want to sell equipment to other countries. And firing off these missiles have nothing to do with threatening anybody. It's basically a sales pitch. You know, look at what our missiles can do. You know,
it's a shit sales pitch because none of their missiles have actually done what it says on the tin so far. So.
Well, that's true, but my big problem is this is from the Nobel Peace Prize Committee. You know, the same people that gave Obama, the man who assassinated the most people of any president ever. Okay, he ordered the assassination of more people, personally signed off on more people than ever, won the Nobel Peace Prize. These people are freaking commie propagandist assholes.
Yeah, not only that, fucking Obama sided with terrorist organizations that you are currently at war with in a time of war, which is treason.
Hey, wow, Donald Trump in less than a year kicked ISIS to the point where it's almost completely collapsed. Gee, how long?
Russia.
Yeah, wow, how did that happen?
None of that has to do with Donald Trump, though, because those are all policies that had already been enacted, so...
Well, okay, but then why didn't it happen under Obama?
Russia.
That's my point.
No,
the same reason why, like, the whole, like, bunch of shit fucking right after Obama was elected was still happening because it was still under Bush policy. Because the policy continues on for, I think it's, like, at least one more year. I think, if I remember correctly. It depends on what the policy is. But this isn't something that Donald Trump did.
No, I don't think... I know he didn't do anything other than look at the military and say, do what you got to do. I praise the generals for solving this problem. I don't think he did anything other than get out of the way. I think Obama was in the way. I think Trump got out of the way. That's the only thing. I don't think he did anything. I think he didn't do something, which was get in the way.
Well, what they're not telling you over there is that, in fact, the big push in Syria is actually totally responsible for the Russians. Like, they've been pushing like fuck. And while everyone's not watching, they're doing what they should have been doing. And which is to not worry about their feelings and sentiments, just to go and fuck them sideways.
Or be loud.
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to. That's what I forgot to put on the list to talk about.
What?
Anyway, anything else on this topic before I move on? Because I don't want to forget what I'm thinking.
I actually want to interrupt for like 1 second. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've got you on speakerphone. I have my boyfriend with me.
Okay.
It's ahead.
Actually, we can hear you clearer now.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
actually
really?
clearer now. Yeah.
Oh, like serious? That's hilarious.
Anyway.
Yeah, so just so you know that if he starts talking, then you know who's talking.
Gotcha. I actually wanted to move on to talking about Donald Trump moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. You guys heard about this?
This was a weird topic, and my mom tried to talk to me about it, and I don't know enough about it, but from what I understand, it's a bad idea.
Well, see, I'm gonna give you the summary of what I know and think. 22 years ago, the U.S. Congress passed a law stating that the U.S. Embassy needed to be moved to Jerusalem, and we needed to recognize it as the capital of Israel. 22 years ago. For 22 years, every president has been kicking this down the road and ignoring it and saying, well, it's not safe, it's not prudent, it's whatever. And Donald Trump got this and said, wait a minute, this hasn't been done in 22 years? Well, if it's a law, it's a law. Let's do it.
And in the meantime, you had Bush and Obama going, like, we recognize that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel and all this. And I only actually watched a video of this last night, and they actually had, like, Bush Senior, Bush Junior, I think even Clinton, then Obama, and they've all said the same thing, and then they played Trump saying exactly the same thing as everybody else. And it's like, well, why is it so bad now?
Well, I will say this. I'm not sure if this is the best of time, or he should have made it so public. Like, I would have been a lot more subtle about this. Maybe just said, sign the law and say do it, and just kind of be quiet about it rather than make the big, huge announcement he did. But I don't know what his big overall strategy is. There's a big part of me right now that thinking this is a smokescreen, because this isn't happening for years. This is years down the road. Okay.
Tactically, I've got an idea. Tactically, or in a strategic kind of format, it's been up in the air for years, and the Palestinians have had the misconception that America is not going to support Israel because they didn't support them in the Yom Kippur War or the 6 Day War, and there's no realistic sort of Israel's been minding their own business and doing their own shit, which is what they should have been doing. And if you have a look at the history, the Israelis have gone to the Palestinians numerous times and given them very generous swathes of land, more than what Israel controls now. And the Palestinians are just like, no, we don't care. Nothing's good enough for us. We want you gone. Now, what Trump basically has gone and done is he's going, right, we're putting our embassy here. This is now a friend of ours. You attack them. You're fucking with us now. Now cut it out. Basically what he's done with Korea, which was, oh, you little shit, you're acting up. Shut the fuck up. Go to your room.
Well, okay, but so, I mean, in all fairness, though, it was originally Palestinian land, and then it was taken away from them in order to make a whole new country that didn't need to exist in the first place. It was a giant waste. It was a stupid, giant fucking waste in the first fucking place.
Well, according to the scriptures, like the Jews owned it bloody thousands of years ago. Well, my point of view on that, though, is that, like, if you really fucking wanted it, you should have kept it.
Well, okay, let's actually, I'm not sure about the whole how it started in the first place. And, like, going back, all the way to try and figure out who's at fault here, I think is pointless. I think that maybe that's actually part of this, is the reason for him moving this is to bring out the, like, look, let's just move on and accept that this is what the reality is and fix it from here.
Well, whose fault it is quite easy, really. It's both faults. Everybody's at fault. Like Palestinians, the Israelis, the Lebs, the bloody Syrians, everybody. It's everybody's fault.
Well, yeah, that first war where they tried to kick the Jews out was pretty bad. Like that was
the reason why Israel's invasion stems from the Holocaust and the whole Cold War aesthetic that followed.
Oh, yeah,
in 1945, there's this vapid release of communism following the fall of Germany. And when we looked at Palestine and we looked at the Israelites, we were like, well, we can just let a bunch of Muslims take over and worry about that in 80 years. Or we can give the Israelites, the people who just got fucking massacred by Germany, a place to live right now and just worry about them later. Our basic move was not to have a bunch of communists or threats to our country later on, And we were basically just like, these guys just got fucked.
Crock of shit, though.
But it's what we did.
Stupid thing to do.
Yeah, it might have been a stupid thing at the time, but regardless, we didn't care about the indigenous people living there, and we never have.
Well, we never really did, because if you actually go back to, say, just after World War One, where T.E. Lawrence and Lawrence of Arabia, it was Britain, France, and a few other countries that actually split the Middle East up into Iraq, Syria, and all this kind of stuff that we know nowadays. Mm-hmm. None of these people respect those borders. They were built by us. They don't give a shit what we say. As far as an Iraqi is concerned, he can walk over the border and still be in Iraq. Where the Israelis fucked up, or the Jews fucked up, was that Britain was trying to introduce the Israelis in a sort of like a trickle. And the Israelis, or the Jews, just went, "No, fuck you, we're going to hire our own boats and just invade the place pretty much." It wasn't like a full-on invasion, but they just didn't listen to, this is the way we got to do it properly.
It was a religious invasion. It was a completely different type of invasion. Because of the Ottoman Empire spreading with Turkey, there was a heightened presence of the Muslim religion. Now, if you add in a bunch of Jews to that situation, you're going to have a bunch of pissed off Muslims looking at a bunch of hurt and beat up Jews, and the Jews are going to solidify immediately, and the Muslims are going to be like, "Oh, hey, you just took my land that's been in my people for 2,000 generations."
Yep. And the British at the time didn't give a shit.
Well, and wait. In defense, it wasn't take. There was a lot of buying of land. Okay, it wasn't like they just walked in and kicked people off. They purchased land. To start with, it wasn't a big deal, and then suddenly, it got kicked into overdrive.
It really wasn't a big deal. He's right. It really wasn't a big of a deal.
I mean, to start
with, if you pay a shit ton of fucking nobody's money that they can't really use, and then take their land that they can use, of course they're going to get pissed off. They can't. They have no use for the money, but they do have a use for the land.
Well, no one forced him to sell. But then, I mean, to be honest, I don't understand the entire whole story. And whatever the case is, whatever the case is, we should deal with the situation now. And I think probably in the long term, this is probably a good deal, because Donald Trump has this long history of saying, "Oh, you think this is a bad situation now? Oh, watch this. Watch this. I'm going to make it horrible." Do you like how horrible it is now? Remember that previous offer that you turned your nose up to? Maybe it's not so bad now, huh? You think I can't make this worse? I can make this worse. Watch me make this worse. Watch me make this. Do you like that? Do you like that first deal yet? Do you like that first deal yet?
He's a pissed off housewife. That's just stupid.
But it's how he deals with things. It's his style. Whether it's going to work is another story. I'm not saying it is or not, but I'm saying this sounds like what he usually does, which is it's a bad situation. I'm going to make it worse, and then I'm going to say, doesn't that previous offer sound better now?
I've actually had just a bit of a thought, and strategically this kind of, I don't know, rings true with me, but with Russia being in Syria and the Muslims siding with the Russians, then it's not going to be long for the Palestinians to side with the Russians as well. Which means that the Yanks are going to get their embassy booted out anyways. So they may as well move it to friendly territory right now, which is Israel, so that they're not going to have this fucking booted out of Muslim countries. That's
for when the second Cold War starts, basically they want to use Israel as a base. They want to have a heightened presence in Israel, so when the second fucking Cold War goes off, whenever it does, it's already here, honestly.
So strategy.
To be honest, we're just speculating here. I have no idea. He could just be along the lines of looked at a piece of paper and said, we're supposed to do this 22 years ago? Okay, whatever. Let's do it. Oh, people say I shouldn't do it? Watch me do it anyways, just because I'm a jerk. That could be his reasoning, for all we know.
It could very well be. How can I piss everyone off today?
It would not surprise me if somebody had gone up to Donald Trump, somebody from some Muslim country said, by the way, you need to get under control. We control the oil, and we can make presidents do what we want. And Donald Trump said, "Oh really? Well, watch me do this. Yeah, can you stop me from doing this?"
I can totally imagine that.
I can just imagining somebody made a vague threat to him, and the only reason he's doing this is because he looked at his team and said, "Find me something to piss that guy off."
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing in North Korea. You look at North Korea. Kim Jong-un carries on like a fuckwit every now and then, just so as he can get foreign aid from everybody else to shut him up. And everyone's been letting that go. And Trump got in and
Called him
Un just
fat.
decided-
That was funny.
Yeah, Trump got in and Un started kicking and screaming like the spoiled little brat that he is. And Trump basically just went, shut the fuck up and go to your room. And this is where all this stuff basically has started, because Un's sitting there going, oh, I should be getting tons of food. No, but they're being hard on me. Well, what the fuck's their problem now? You know? Yeah, like literally, you look at North Korea, it is that childish.
That's true, though.
Oh,
To be
their
literally
country is a
honest-
complete hellhole. I mean, I've done. I can't study North Korea anymore because I'm listening to some of these stories where you have people just sitting there nonchalantly going, yeah, you know, the flies are the first ones to know when somebody's going to die. Like when the flies start going through the mouth and anus, that's when you know the person's going to be dead probably within a half hour. And you're just sitting there and going, no one should be that blasé. No one should know this shit.
Yeah.
Actually, no, everyone should actually know this shit so as we can do something about it.
They have worms with length of my arm.
What the fuck? Parasitic worms? Are you shitting me?
Oh yeah,
it's really bad.
Oh yeah, they're all health-wise. That country, we could roll over
Did you
them.
hear about that defector?
They're all riddled with it. That's fucked. They've been using human shit as fertilizer for the past 50 years.
That's
What do you
disgusting.
expect?
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
What do you
Didn't
expect?
you?
We've been shutting off everything to them. They have no choice but to grow their food with human shit. And
Yeah,
the-
didn't
the-
you hear
Yeah,
about that
they
defector?
have. There's reports of these people like going, yeah, we would mix grass in with our food because we couldn't find anything else, and we'd just bulk things up. And you're like going, Jesus Christ, it would be a mercy to. But the problem is they've been so heavily propagandized. They have every week they have to get together and narc on each other in a public narking session. How could you ever have a rebellion where everybody has to find things out on each other every week?
Well, that's the thing that people don't understand too, is that like the whole myth of like blind faith to Kim Jong-un is actually a myth. Like most of them realize that everything that he says and everything that's said about him is all bullshit, and they just can't get away. They can't trust to talk to people. They can't. You know, this is the whole reason why they do what they do. So people can't get together and then form a group and overthrow the government. But having said that, an interesting little thing from something I saw from a defector, which was basically that the food and all this kind of stuff is basically foreign aid from America with an American flag on it. And apparently, I think this is a bit bullshit too, but apparently most North Koreans don't even know what the American flag looks like. So they're getting all this American foreign aid, and in the same breath they go, here's some rice. By the way, the Yanks are cunts. This is what I reckon is probably going to happen. The first soldier that crosses the fucking border and sees an American flag on a Yank soldier is going to go, give me food. Oh, before you do that, fuck off over there and help my family.
Literally? Okay, so
Yeah.
imagine this. Imagine you wake up in North Korea and this is where you live. Your fucking family is riddled with parasitic worms. You've lost how many children to this? You can't have babies because babies can't survive.
Yep.
And literally everyone is compelled into the military. You, like you said, you have to find out shit every fucking weekend and rat out your neighbors. There is no rebellion. There is only one hope, and that is to get across the DMZ. Or if you're lucky, to get on a ship and go fishing and like hopefully be like one of those people that gets to Japan and not on a fucking ship that's one of the ghost ships with just fucking a whole crew of dead bodies, because you get lost in the South Japan Sea and die.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Nobody's talking about.
Boats.
I can't research it anymore. It's just too disgusting. I mean, you're just sitting there, and this is nightmare fuel. North Korea is just pure nightmare fuel.
So if that happens,
So messed up.
they're not going to populate. They're not in a condition to fight if we invade. If we do this for 2 more years, the country will implode.
Pretty much.
Oh my god.
All we have to do is literally fly over and deposit like a bunch of leaflets containing the interview, and we're done.
People over there are cottoning onto this. They are finding out somehow, or else you wouldn't have so many defectors. And I tell you right now, like the quickest way to stop a North Korean invasion is to basically go to the DMZ and put this giant fucking table out with a giant white cloth on it, and just stick fucking turkeys and roast beef and fucking all sorts of shit. Right? As soon as they come over the border, you just have the Koreans and the Yanks just sitting there going, "Tuck in, fellas."
You know, I think there's an actual a bit of logic to that. You know, if we just went up to the border and said, "Hey, how about all of you guys just come over here, put your guns down, and take the food?" And you know, and we're not going to invade your country. We're just when they send somebody to find out what happened to you guys, we'll invite them to come over and eat too.
And we'll just march on their stomachs.
Oh yeah, they are starving their people. I thought they were starving their people, but feeding their army, but they're not anymore. They've run out of food for their army.
Yeah, especially when you send, say, 10,000 blokes across a border who are starving as fuck and they don't really want to be there. They're not really interested in fighting. They're just trying to fucking survive. And if we gave them like one skerrick of fucking a thought that they might be better off surrendering, they bloody will. They will, absolutely.
The only reason
morale in that place.
Shall we move on?
The only reason that place is still standing is because of China's backing it in the Korean War. If China does not back them, because China's on our side now.
Well, yeah, China. Well, China loved their cheap rare earth metals. That was the problem.
Yeah, well, before recently, China has been doing all of us a favor by every time Kim Jong Il used to act up. China would be like, "Oh, stop being a dickhead." Yeah. Now it's a little different. They're sort of okay. We'll let the Yanks handle this one. But if Kim Jong Un gets overthrown, the Chinese have already said, they said this a few years back, that if there is a political coup in North Korea, that the Chinese are going to invade, and the first thing they're going to do is secure every single last weapon that the Koreans have got. So we don't have a problem here.
They want their weapons.
I personally, you know what? If there was some way to con North Korea into allowing China to move into their country to protect them from America, and then just suddenly like turn around, shoot Kim Jong Un in the back of the head, and take over the country, I'd be like, go ahead and do it. I would just say, just go ahead and do it. We'll be the big bad man. You send your armies in to protect North Korea, and then you just take over the place. Because anything would be better than the shithole it is now.
China's not going to do that.
You can have
absolutely
oh my
not
God,
going to do that.
Rob, I know he is.
He is absolutely right. I would give China North Korea in a fucking second just to not worry about that bullshit.
Well, they're not going to do it.
I mean, it'd be cruel. I wish it'd be great if North Korea and South Korea could become Korea again. But you know what? At this point, anything would be a step up from that. But moving on.
What we need to do first.
Okay, go ahead.
What
go
we
ahead.
Need to do first, what we need to do first to actually have that happen is for China to actually become fully friends with us, because they like the North Korean sort of buffer zone between America and them. So until we become really good friends with China, they're not going to do anything with North Korea.
Yeah, I doubt they would trust us with this plan, but man, I would try it. I would try it. But at any rate, moving on. Silly time. Postal Service probes glue-like substance found on mailboxes. Some residents in New Jersey City have noticed a glue-like substance on their mailboxes is preventing their letters from going down the chute. Now, my initial response was, it's glue-like substance.
I'm just going to a fucking dirty place.
Yeah, that's where I went to. I'm just wondering if somebody's going around, like, jacking off on mailboxes.
And stopping it from going down the chute. Those bloodies, those letter boxes don't like to swallow, do they?
I honestly, I mean, they think that it was somebody just trying to catch letters so that thieves could steal the letters later. But who wants to steal somebody's goddamn letter? Like seriously, you want to steal a postcard? I mean, okay, might have a check in it, but nobody sends cash anymore. Nobody sends cash.
That's another law that should be repealed all over the world, is mail theft. But it does fucking help out. If you've got something illegal, right, mail it to yourself, especially if it's like a document or something like that, and just leave it in that sealed envelope, because you're the only person, the addressee is the only person who can open it. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you have a point. I remember when I was dealing with Bronson and Migliaccio, we actually would mail stuff to ourselves. So that it was time date stamped. So we could say, "Yep."
You're the only person that can open it. So, or legally, anyway.
At any rate, moving on. Just that one just jumped out at me. Do you remember when that guy got captured by 4 black people and they beat the crap out of him for 2 days on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like special needs or something.
Yeah, one of the women who kidnapped and tortured him was sentenced to probation and a 4-year ban from Facebook.
What?
Probation, that's it?
Probation.
Are you fucking shitting me?
For kidnapping?
Nope, that's
did you not hear
Chicago
about
for
this?
you. Welcome to Chicago.
Oh my god, wait, hold on. Did you not hear about this?
No.
Oh my god, okay. So this group of stupid ass kids, it was like 4 kids,
How old are they?
went, I don't know, like
This is
high
like-
school
Oh,
shit.
this is high school shit.
So they kidnapped a special needs man and then beat the fuck out of this man and fucking live feeded the shit on Facebook.
That's really fucked up.
It was blatant racism. It was 4 black racists against the white guy. But they never called it a hate crime.
Well,
Because
I
it's
thought the guy-
Chicago.
what's
It's
the guy
Chicago
like?
is like freaking overrun by progressives. That's why it's like got such a high murder rate. But But
The entire state of Illinois needs to fuck off.
any comments on this before moving on?
I mean, that's bullshit, but
Yeah, that's all I got to
someone
say.
with
It's
special
bullshit.
needs.
It's complete
Yeah.
As
bullshit.
someone with special needs, if that happened to me in high school,
oh
that
my
person's going to be so fucked up.
God.
It's going to be unbelievable.
You're funny.
No, literally, that is the most traumatic thing that can happen to someone. That person's going to be fucked up for the rest of their lives.
Oh, you're saying the special needs dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He is going to be
Yeah.
traumatized beyond any
For like the
person's
rest of forever.
comprehension
That's so
for the rest
fucked up,
of his
though.
life.
That's so fucked up, though. Ugh.
Probation
bullshit.
is not enough for that. You've ruined
Absolutely
someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, because it's Chicago.
Yep.
They were oppressed. The people beating this white guy up were oppressed. So, but at any rate, moving on. Just this one jumped out at me too. Prominent Ninth Circuit judge, accused of foul deeds by 6 different women. So yeah, we got another progressive judge who apparently is can't keep it in his pants.
What judge?
Oh, what was this guy's name again? Judge Alex Kaczynski. He's Polish. Damn it.
To be honest,
Ha, shut up, dude.
no one can keep it in their pants.
What the fuck are you talking
No
about?
fucking dude apparently can keep it in their pants because no one's not just progressive. Everyone.
Well, no. Actually, there's a lot more. If you're looking at by the statistics by Democrat to Republican, a lot more Democrats are being accused of all these sexual crimes than Republicans. There's a couple, but it's about a 90-95% ratio, towards Democrat. And I mean,
It's
it's
really
just the
weird.
statistics.
Like I can't explain this, and I don't know what to say about it because it's really weird to me. Because it blows my mind that would be like more the people that I would actually vote for. It's like really.
Well, I can explain it. I have a theory about it. I can explain it if you want.
Please do.
Okay, when you're progressive, you're pretty liberal. You're pretty like, hey, whatever's good, do it. Feel free. They do not teach restraint. There's not a lot of deferred gratification. Okay, but when you're a conservative, you spend a lot of time thinking about the future. You conserve. You suffer now so that you have more later. Okay, that's an investment policy, and it's not much of a difference. But when you teach yourself to defer gratification for more return later, you don't feel as much of a compulsion to rape somebody. You don't feel as much of a need to grab somebody's boobies because it's funny and then have a picture taken and have it destroy your career later. I'm looking at you, Al Franken.
Thanks.
But-
Thanks for the reminder.
But that is-
by cookies, but you can't. As long as
No, you let them. Let them. That is the very definition of permission. See? That is consent.
No,
Well, no, it's still a
fucked
fucked up thing to say, but here's the difference between the two and why there's a difference in punishment between Donald Trump and those guys. Al Franken confessed. Al Franken said, not all these allegations are true. So some of them are true. So one of them is true? So there's at least one allegation true against you? You just confessed to at least one allegation? You're a scumbag. Donald Trump and that other judge, that Republican is going to win down in Alabama, they never said, I'm sorry. They never said, I did anything. They said, I did nothing. They did not confess to anything. Now, if you want to take them to court, you want to prove it, please do. But neither one of those people confessed, but all these Democrats are confessing. They always give the same thing. I'm sorry. The minute you said I'm sorry, you're confessing. Because if you say you're sorry, you did something. Okay, you can say I didn't do all of this. Not all of it's true, so some of it's true. You're still a scumbag. That's the difference.
Yeah, like what is like the issue that they are guilty for? Like, how bad is it though?
Well, see, that's the thing. In a lot of cases, it's not that bad, and I'm all for people having their day in court to defend themselves, because I'm torn about it. Personally, I do not like these people, but on the other hand, I'm like, no, but that could be me. So that person should have his day in court. He should be allowed to defend himself. But you're dealing with people who are in jobs where public image is everything. When you're in Hollywood, your image is what you're selling to people. So if you ruin your image, your employer's going to fire you. You know, when you're a politician, people have to like you and they want you to represent you. So if people want you out of office, being a scumbag who, molests women, who, even if it's not proven, if people think it is, I'm sorry, your reputation is what you're selling. So that's why it's so prevalent in these cases that these people are losing their jobs and everything. It's because you're in a job where what people think about you is your job. Okay. However, this is starting to bleed over into conventional jobs where what people think about you doesn't matter. And I know people are losing their jobs over the weirdest accusations, so I'm just glad I'm with the union, because otherwise I'd probably be fired by now. And not because I do anything, but because I tell the truth and I say, hey, this is wrong. And it's easier to get rid of somebody who complains than it is to fix a problem. But that's neither here nor there.
I just went for a piss. Did I miss the conversation about the snake in the apartment, or am I jumping ahead of things?
Oh, you're jumping ahead. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, I'll shut up again.
Well, I need anything else on this topic before we get to the snake.
I missed the first bit, so yeah, I don't have a horse in this race. Let's talk about snakes.
Okay. All right. Seattle family discovers python in apartment toilet.
Oh, fucking
my God. Oh my God, that's so gross.
A family made an unusual discovery inside the bathroom of their North Seattle apartment on Friday. A snake was hiding in their toilet. The family called after the child found a 1 meter, 4 foot long snake inside the apartment in Lake City neighborhood.
You know, it'd be fucking even funnier if it was actually like a double-ended dildo that slipped out of mum's bumhole or something like that. And they're like, "Oh, Sally, no. It's not what you think. It's only a snake. It's only a snake."
Stop. No.
Oh, this apparently was a ball python. Non-venomous, but still a constrictor that can pretty much F you up, because I've met those snakes.
What if it looks like a black mamba?
I had one grab me. That thing was a bitch to get off my arm. And that was not 4 feet long. That was maybe 2 feet long. That was pure muscle.
It's vipers you really got to worry about, because in Southeast Asia they've actually got the one that's worse than what we've got, which is the 2-step viper. And basically, you
get bit and you have 2 steps.
No, stop! I can't handle the snake talk. I'm freaking out. Oh my
God!
God!
Pythons have to get around you to kill you. Those things just have to look at you and bite you.
My fucking neighbour tried scaring me by putting a dead snake on my back step when I came home from where I went. I just come home and like, oh, look, there's a snake. A couple of days later, I was speaking to my neighbour and I said, yeah, I found a snake on my back step. And he goes, you did you? What'd you do? So I just picked it up and put it in the bin. Why? He goes, I thought you'd freak out. So it's just, where are we, dickhead?
And get a fucking rogue.
Ah, well. Yeah, shall we move on? Are we done with snakes? Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. I may have gotten too many articles because we've been running a long time. But anyway, We'll try and speed this up.
I'm having fun.
Sorry, white people, but trying too hard not to be racist is a low-key kind of racist.
Well, it kind of is.
Here's the irony of this article. It really was written by social justice warriors trying to call out anybody who wasn't social justice. But really, to be honest, I agree with this, that most of these social justice warriors are racist. They're like white supremacists who feel really bad about being white supremacists.
Hold on. Wait. Okay, back up a second. So what was the title of the article again?
Hold on one sec. Sorry, white people, but trying too hard not to be racist is a low-key kind of racist.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay, I understand it.
You know, I kind of do get that because it's been brought up a lot of times before where it's like, if you say, I'm not racist, but, you know, like, that's just like, I'm leading you up to saying...
No, that's a different thing. No. It's like going out of your way to not be racist, to not, like, essentially giving them more favor because of the fact that they're a specific thing. That is kind of low-key racist. That's true.
Oh, no. I agree with that statement, but this article does not talk about that. This article talks about basically cultural appropriation, where trying to act black to prove you're not racist is racist. But you know what? I'm with you with 100%, where the bigotry of low expectation is bigotry. You know, treat people normal. That's it.
Yeah, right. I reckon there's a good one here. Like, it's a TV show that used to be in America called Rescue Me, and it was Dennis Leary was Dennis Leary was the main character in it, and they had one thing where they had to go through cultural sensitivity training and all this kind of stuff. And basically, the cultural sensitivity training was a video where it's like a white guy walks up to a black guy reading a paper and say, "Hey, did you check out that game last night?" And the black fella turns to me like, "What? Because I'm black, I like the basketball game," or something like that. And as the bloke walks up to an Asian grocer and buys an apple, it's like, "You guys have the best produce," and the Asian person instantly has offense to it and all this kind of stuff. And I like Dennis Leary's rebuttal in that. Is basically when they turn the video off and the bloke goes, "Well, so what did we learn here?" And I said, he goes like, "Well, I've learned that you're a bit of a fuckwit, but you know, I tell you what, I'm wasting my fucking time here until such as a stage as I don't pull someone out of a fucking burning building because of the colour of their skin. Then you can call my white Irish ass a racist. Now, fuck off. I'm going for a smoke." But when you're trying to like overtly not be racist, you're kind of skirting the, okay, so what is racist that I can't talk about? And that's where people can sort of go, okay, you're really trying to be my friend here. Why? Fuck off. Go away. See you later.
Oh, yeah, if you're trying, in my opinion, if you're trying not to be racist, you're racist. Okay, because you don't need to try not to be racist. Just don't be racist. But there's something about this article I want to bring up because it's kind of ironic, in my opinion. Let me read it to you. Because here's the thing. People are kind of fucking stupid, and racism is particularly fucking stupid. If white people oversaturate the racism market, I didn't know racism was a market, but actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that makes sense. Nobody's going to care what an actual person of color asks not to be characterized for a Halloween costume or, not to get shot at the cops. Repeat after me, my sweet white ally. Less is more. Amplify the actual concerns of people of color instead of getting mad about something irrelevant online for your non-white friends so you know you're one of the good ones. Now, I don't think this person quite gets it, but I think they're starting to if they're pointing this out, which is a lot of those white progressives who are here to defend you are actually racist. Not every white person's racist, but probably the ones who are claiming and trying to defend you, they're like white supremacists who feel really bad about it. Okay? Because I did this once with one guy, and I wish I recorded the conversation. But basically, I flat out told them, you sound like you're a white supremacist, and you just feel guilty about it. Just, okay, I can prove it. Okay, in America, black women have per capita have more education than any other group. Say that out loud. And you guys, why? Okay. Asians and Jews have more money than white people per capita. Say that. Say it out loud. He said, but you're just trying to trick me here. It's like, and he really got angry and he called me racist and a white supremacist for saying that whites were inferior. It's really weird. They want to help all these minorities, but only because white people are so better than everybody else. It's creeptastic. It's bizarre when you actually look at it. Like, I just thought they were trying. They don't, when they talk about slavery, like America used to have slaves, they're not complaining about it. They're bragging. They really are. They're bragging. Hey, do you know you black people used to be owned by white people? That's what it is. These crazy progressives are bragging that they used to have slaves. But I think it's just now starting to catch on to minorities that they're being had. These people are not here to help you. They're here to fuck you up. But
yeah. Oh, I had a discussion with someone on YouTube not so long ago, and he called me a racist because I told him the truth. So I fucking ripped it right into the bastard. Just trying to find that now. It was an epic fucking broadside, I tell you.
Well, it's because I'm quickly believing that whenever I see SJW or male feminists or anything like that, I start going, everything you're complaining about, you're just projecting. You're just projecting. You are doing all of this and you're projecting it onto everybody else. Because normal people don't even need to think like that. But that's just me.
Here we go.
Any comments from the crowd?
This bloke reckons that like stereotypes and all this were racist. So here's a comment I sent back to him. Stereotype for an Islamic extremist is a bacon-hating, woman-abusing goat fucker. Oh, by the way, Islam isn't a race, so no, you dopey fucking moron. Stereotype isn't racist because of the fact that it covers things other than race. In fact, a stereotype in proper English means a copy or a basic average, i.e. stereotypical truck driver is a fat bloke who wears a wife beater. Last time I checked, dickhead, truck drivers aren't racist either. So also called the cliche, coming from the mechanical press terminology, also with copyright, as cliche was the sound that the machine made.
The thing about stereotypes is a stereotype comes from a hint of truth. There is a hint of truth in there because it's an average. And that's generally how most people behave, and that's how you get stereotypes. So
exactly.
There's a reason they exist.
Yeah, hang on. Wait for the next bit. That's funny, this bit. Anyway, so that's the sound the machine made. And the thing about dumb cunts is that they're too fucking stupid to realise that they're fucking stupid. Even when told they're fucking stupid, they're too fucking stupid to understand the other bloke's right. Now, keep telling me how educated you are, and I'll keep calling you a dumb cunt. I'm not the racist cunt here making everything about race. That's actually you racist cunt. And had you actually been to Australia and been with actual Australians, you'd know that almost all of the time we are mostly right. So you're a lying racist cunt too. So, oh no, Whitey is calling the black man a racist. He can't do that. Fucking watch me. You're supposedly being a visitor here. You'd know that. Yeah, you wouldn't understand why I'm calling you a fucking dumb cunt, you fucking dumb cunt. And no, it's got nothing to do with your race. It's because you as an individual are a fucking dumb cunt. Now, are we fucking clear, son? English words are racist? Go get fucked, idiot. That's how you deal with fuckwits who think you're fucking racist.
Well, actually, I love it. I love it. Well, actually, that kind of is a nice segue into the next one. Shall we move on?
All right.
Student suspended for debating Islamic extremism with a Muslim peer in debate club.
Hey, what in the whereabouts? Hang on, repeat that.
Okay, this guy in a debate club went into a debate with a Muslim about Islamic extremism and got suspended from school for basically debating with him about the problems with Islamic extremism. And he was also told he's not allowed to appeal the finding of the wrongdoings.
Hold on. So what was the actual suspension for? Like, specifically, they have to list the exact infraction that he would have done for a suspension. So what infraction did they put him
for making critical comments about Islamic extremism.
But no. Okay.
He was right.
No, that's why he was suspended. That was what it was. But, for making critical.
Well, no. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this from like a teacher standpoint. So when a school suspends a student, there's like a code they have to use for what the suspension is, and then you have the notes what the real reason was. So I want to know what code they put the suspension under, because depending on what code they use, that I don't
have the code. I do not have the code. But in the actual debate, he said, "I never made any personal attacks against the guy. I never said anything about the other student. I only talked about Islamic extremism.
That school is in a heap of fucking shit because, like, that's a basic breach of fucking human rights, eh?
Oh, okay. No, there's. We can kind of see the letter here. He was suspended due to behavior, and corrective disciplinary action was taken. Okay.
Okay.
Did he instigate this?
Well, hold on. So, did the other students say that it was only a debate and it wasn't like he wasn't?
Well, it was a
attacking
formal
him?
debate as part of a debate society. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the other student corroborated with that.
Yep. They both went into it.
Okay. Then there's no. Then the suspension is retarded.
Yeah,
Then
this
I
isn't
can agree
okay.
it's retarded.
This isn't okay.
Okay, well, hang
Then
on.
we have
Did this
people
kid
saying, no, he
use...
didn't say anything bad. He's fine, but he's still getting suspended. Then that's bullshit.
Yeah, I do not see the code anywhere on this letter that they uploaded.
That's okay. You got me with behavior, so you're good. It's all right. I understand it now. So.
Oh, by the way, it's in
that's
school suspension if that means anything.
I mean,
In
I
school.
prefer in school. I loved in school suspension. I used to purposely get in trouble at school. I would skip class and shit, right? Or I would sleep in class and just not pay attention. I'd read or whatever. And I would purposely get in school suspension. So I spent an entire day.
This is great. No, I've got to add this one point. I've got to add this. Hold on. Let me add this. The Muslim individual called this white kid retarded in the debate, but nothing happened to him. I just wanted to share that. Feel free to go ahead.
That's a great area.
Hang on, I forgot what I was going to say there, but...
I'm sorry,
No,
but where I come from, you call some...
Yeah, like the like proper English in the debate and all this kind of stuff. What did the bloke just drop like a fucking term like sand nigger or something like that?
No, he was just talking about the religion and its flaws.
Oh, that's right. That's what I was going to ask. In school suspension, that's where I have my metaphysical dichotomy with, because it doesn't make sense in proper English.
Oh, they put you in a room. They put you in a room where you just sit there.
Right. Now, the fucking school should be fucking sacked for fucking not doing their fucking job properly, because that's called detention, not suspension. When you suspend somebody, you're actually removing them from school. When you detain somebody, you are keeping them in school. Fuck me.
No. Suspension's after school. In-school suspension is during school hours. You're in a tiny room.
When you're detained, you are being kept there. When you are suspended, you are being removed. So either way, suspension is not the correct term. Not in English. So this is how dumb these fuckwits are. They can't even fucking speak properly.
Stop.
Well, no, they have redefined these words here. The words have been redefined. I'm sorry to say.
No. Fuck what they fucking think. It's fucking proper English, and if they don't fucking like it, they shouldn't be fucking teaching their bullshit to fucking kids. Fuck them cunts.
No. I am actually going to go. I need to leave. So
the part that kills me is that the other students, some of them are accusing him of being racist. Like, you can't be racist because are you saying that everybody who's Islamic is the same race? What the hell? I just, you're right. The mangling of English language is the problem.
It's not a race, and it's just like, say, things with fucking Islamophobia and fucking homophobia and transphobia. Like, we're not fucking scared of it. Don't put phobia on it. Phobia is a fear. We just don't agree with it or don't fucking like it. That's a completely different fucking word altogether. Fuck me. Christ, why are people so fucking stupid?
Well. Oh, no, we already went over this one.
This one already left?
This one I love. Sweden convicts man for rape over the internet.
Who, what, and where now?
Sweden is now the only country in the world where rape does not need to be a physical act. So broad is its definition of rape that a man has been convicted of committing rape over the internet. On November 30th, a 40-year-old man, Bjorn Samstrom, was convicted of the crime and sentenced to 10 years in prison for coercing teenagers in Canada, Britain, and the United States to perform sex acts in front of their webcams by threatening their families.
Okay, just one more thing about language. Bjorn, the J is pronounced as a Y, so it's Bjorn.
Whatever, it looks like Bjorn. I'm an American. I'll mangle it any way I want.
Okay. Actually, their sexual assault laws are fucking ridiculous. That's actually what they're trying to get Julian Assange on. Apparently, the full story with him is that he had consensual sex, and she either changed her mind later or fucking just disagreed with it. And under the law, that's perfectly fine over there.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm,
Sweden,
I'm
yeah.
totally not surprised about this one.
Although I will admit, this guy does strike me as a scumbag. I mean,
He probably is.
I mean, you know,
Assange is a fucking scumbag too. So
I mean, like anybody who does that cyber sex crap is, you know, especially if you're taking pictures and keeping them. Yeah, that's pretty weird, especially with underage kids. So I mean, creepy as hell. But that's pornography. That's not rape. But that's my point. Yeah, it's a mangling of the law. Where you mangle the law, you make it work less effectively. You know.
It's actually kind of more the point as their specific laws, and that's where a lot of people go wrong. Like, particularly Americans, like, you know, they do it in movies all the time. You know, they go to another country or something like, it's like, but I'm an American, like, as if that fucking means shit in the middle of bloody bumfuck nowhere, Africa. Yeah. Like, their laws are a bit weird, but hey, the fucking Muzzos have got laws in their countries where they you know, you can stone Sheilas, you can all, you know, chuck poofs off fucking roofs and all this kind of stuff. That's just their laws. And we've got a similar problem out here where we've got fucking people from other countries coming into Australia saying that, like, well, it works this way in our country. No, you've got to learn the other country's laws. You know, it's perfectly legal for me to have a gun in America, but it's not here, and I should know that. But if it's over the internet,
my problem is that he's probably guilty of something, but not this. Okay, yeah. That's my issue. And when you do this, you weaken the law as a whole. Every time when you make a law that's stupid, you weaken all laws. But I mean, this is the same country that actually declared that the OK symbol was a symbol of white supremacy, and that was a joke by 4chan. So.
But they're also being overtaken by these immigrants as well, and they're full on letting them in. So I don't really have much sympathy for these people.
Oh, we lost. What's her name? She had to leave?
Yeah, she had to leave. Yeah, she dropped off about a minute ago.
Oh, I missed that. I was paying attention to other things. Oh, well, shall we continue on? Shall we soldier?
Yeah. Yeah, what have we got next?
Well, we're down to the last three. Wanted to bring up Justin Trudeau again. Oh, where the school was? That school was in America. I think. I forget. I'm pretty sure the school was in America, Jacob. Anyway, Justin Trudeau defends apology and $10.5 million payment to Omar Khadr. I don't know if you remember this guy. Do you remember him?
Omar Khadr. Hang on, yeah, you're gonna have to refresh my memory on that one.
Oh, okay. He spent time in Guantanamo Bay, and then he got returned to Canada because he had like Canadian citizenship on top of something else.
Fucking David Hicks all over again. Yeah.
And so the Canadian government gave him an apology and $10.5 million.
Yep, that's David Hicks all over again. The laws here are basically, well, it used to be, I'm not sure whether it's just that no cunt's noticed or whether it's just a factor of fucking they might have changed it, but back when I was a lot younger, if you went to fight overseas in a non-sovereign country fighting with a non-sovereign militia, that's classed as being a mercenary. And we had mercenary laws over here which basically dictate if you got caught overseas doing something for somebody else that's not a recognised country, then you basically lose your Australian citizenship. We wipe you off the face of the earth. And that's what it should have happened to David Hicks. And but instead of doing that, everyone's like, oh, poor David's in Gitmo, oh, boo-hoo, you know, all this kind of shit. Like, let's get him out, oh, poor little darling. No, fuck him. He was fighting against Australians. Fuck the bastard.
No, I can get totally behind that law. If you go and fight in another country in another war and you're
Especially
found
if
of
they're
any sort of
recognized
war crime
terrorists.
or anything like that, I can see, yeah, you should lose your citizenship. You went and
Yeah,
worked for
well-
some other country somewhere. Yeah, you're now fighting in their war. You're in some other government. You're working for a different
Yeah,
government.
well, I think they found this bloke in Iraq fighting with the insurgency. So yeah, that's a mercenary. We should have wiped our hands of him, and he should have fucking just dropped in that massive hole in Gitmo and just stayed there. But now he's got fucking book rights. He's got bloody people asking for his story and all sorts of shit.
Well, it's Justin Trudeau. I mean, this guy he's trying so hard to virtue signal, and they did a recent poll. I believe 67% of Canadians think political correctness has gone too far, but that's not slowing him down. I mean, this is the guy who goes to China and preaches political correctness at them, and then they laugh. And when Donald Trump goes there, he comes back with $240 billion in trade deals. So, I mean, we see the difference in leadership there.
Yeah, well, like, you have a look at what like Obama did and all this kind of stuff, and the things that Trump has shat on completely. Like he's canned Boeing, basically ribbing the US government for a couple of new Air Force Ones. When the last 747 was built, there was a lot of things that had to be made custom for it. And nowadays, there's a lot of stuff that's plug and play. You don't have to have big consoles and all this kind of stuff. Most of the stuff that the military can do nowadays can run off a laptop on a desk. So you don't need all that crap. So that's what Boeing was trying to dig the government for. And Trump went, no, that's frivolous spending. Fuck off. Come back and see us when you got something that's a decent budget. He canned the renovations of the White House, specifically because Obama went and left it for Trump. So, I didn't spend frivolous money on the White House, but the next guy's going to. And Trump went, nah, fuck off. The next cunt's going to do. The JSF, another thing there. And a lot of people from around the world should be thanking Trump for this, because Lockheed Martin were fucking gouging the shit out of everybody. They were milking that fucking thing for everything it had, and everyone was letting them get away with it until such as a stage as Trump went, nah, fuck off, this is too expensive. You're going to have to cut the prices, or we're going to Boeing and buying F-18s. Now, this not only brought the price down, but it also prompted Lockheed Martin to start presenting a product and all this kind of stuff. So instead of them sitting on the planes and just asking for more money, now they've actually got to deliver the product. And this is going to be cheaper for everybody, including Europe, Australia, anybody else who's buying the JSF. And those few little instances have saved America billions of dollars.
Oh, no,
also still...
You're preaching the choir. I agree with you 100%. It's a lot of these little things that there are some big things I got a problem with him, but I can overlook them. I can overlook them because he's only had a year. Okay,
Yeah.
he's only had 1 year. He hasn't even had a full year yet on the job, and overall, I'm much happier with his successes than his failures. The whole Jerusalem thing, I'm not liking the timing. I think he probably could have done better waiting a couple of months, but you know what? I don't know what's going on. And at this point, he's built up enough credit with me that I'm going to give his 4D chess a chance and see if he's doing something I can't figure out. I understand why the last couple of presidents all backed down from it, but I'll give him props for doing it. I'm not sure about the timing.
Well, the timing is sort of neither here nor there. A lot of these things should have happened before. So whether it happens now or later is neither the point.
You have a point there.
He's done a lot for the military. He's done a lot of really smart stuff in regards to that. And then even with running the country, and I've said this a lot of times to people before, that like, just he's business minded. He's not the scratch my back and I'll scratch yours politician. He's the we're making money, and if you don't want to make money, you can simply fuck right off kind of person. And that's what you guys have needed for a good long while. Especially like cleaning house, like with Korea. No, this is what's going to happen. You're going to do as you're fucking told, or else. Same thing with Israel. Right now, we're putting our embassy here. You fucking bomb this thing. We're coming for you. Now quit your bullshit.
Oddly enough,
needed to be said.
Oddly enough, I think they talk about how all the horrible things that's going to happen. I listen to NPR all the time just because I torture myself. You know, they say this is going to cause war and all these other problems and stuff. But part of me is going there. You know what? I think this might actually fix things because I don't think the Palestinians were taking them seriously.
Yeah, that's where I see things happening, and like with the things that he has done, it's what people should have been doing in the first place.
I think it'll be the height of irony if before his even first term is out, he brings about, you know, a solution to the Israel-Palestinian thing. They come up with some solution. He actually like managed to finally get both sides to sit down and agree to something. Like if he fixed that, it'd be like, wow, Donald Trump fixed something that took like 60 years for everybody else to just kick down the road.
Well, if you look at Palestine and what I was saying before about, you know, the Russian side and with the Muslims, that fucking putting the embassy in Israel basically says, right, if you want to fuck with Israel, we're going to come into your country. Okay, you're going to bring the Russians in, sure, no problems, but you're going to be left with a fucked up country, not us.
I'm not sure if I mean, I know the Russians are kind of being aggressive in places, but I don't think they're trying to be a global power anymore.
They're not, no. And this is another misconception that fucking Russia is the big bad. They haven't been the big bad for a good long while now. And in fact, they are doing stuff like within Syria, like as I mentioned before too, like, you know, it's the Russians that have been kicking ISIS's ass, not the Americans. It's not the allies. We haven't been doing shit, especially in Syria. It's the Russians that have been going in hard, and they haven't told anybody what they've been doing because that's the whole point. They needed to be left alone for everyone to turn their backs and for them to just go ahead and do their job, and that's what they've been doing. And basically, from last time I checked, about 75% of Syria is now back in Syrian hands because of the Russians.
I'll be perfectly honest. As long as it's stable, I don't care who's in charge. You know,
yeah,
I never understood what Hillary's problem was with their rightly elected or whatever he is leader, because trust me, the one thing I've noticed about the Middle East is you kind of have to be a dick to be in charge. You know,
yeah, you do.
I mean, Saddam, we had a lot of problems with him, but you want to know what? A lot less people died under his rulership than died when he died when we took him out. I mean,
that's the ones we know about though.
I'm looking at the numbers, and I keep wondering if there would be millions dead if we had just walked away and let him be. Now, admittedly, you did have a point. I remember when we had this conversation before that when his kids take over, that might have been horrible. So maybe it did need to happen in the long run, but
well, you can't forget the fact that fucking Saddam went and gassed the Kurds both in the northern and southern Kurdish area. He used chemical weapons doing that, and we know how many he had initially. We know how many he roughly used. We know how many he should have left. And we know all of this because we fucking gave them to him. George Bush Sr. has the receipts for him. Marked CIA, thank you very much. Regards, Saddam Hussein. We know all of this. We know he didn't use them all, and we know he can't deactivate them. They simply disappeared, and this is the fundamental point that everybody forgets. Oh, we went into Iraq and we didn't find any chemical weapons. Yeah, they were there before. Where are they now? According to everybody else, fuck it, who cares? It seems that I'm the only person that's going, they're still there. But then again, I've done the NBC course and a lot of improvised weapons courses and stuff like that. I know how easy it is to actually smuggle this shit around the world. For all you know, your Muslim neighbor could have some of his shit hiding under his bed. It is that simple.
Yeah, that is true. Like, I mean, to be honest, I don't understand the whole thing. And a lot of my opinions on the matter are based on what I read on the internet. So,
well, I can even tell you how he got him out of the country. I mean, like, whilst there was these embargoes with shipping and all this kind of stuff, Saddam had this agreement with Syria and the Kurds, actually, because the Kurds were allowed to go and sell Iraqi oil to make money for their own burgeoning sort of existence. So they were allowed to, Iraq wasn't, but Iraq could sell to the Kurds and the Kurds could sell to anybody else. And typically it was going through the Syrian northern border. And like there was footage of this, there were trucks miles long, like oil trucks as far as you could fucking see, just waiting to get through the border into Syria. And it doesn't take much to put some of these chemicals into a container, drop it into these oil tankers, call your mate Ahmed over in Syria and say, truck number 123 ABC, he's third compartment or something like that. And once the truck's empty, you just go in, you take it out, and then from there, it's disappeared. It's anywhere. And we weren't looking for this shit at the time.
Oh yeah,
We
I mean,
absolutely
clearly
were
there's
not-
no security.
Yeah, and we were not looking for any of this shit at the time at all. So it's already here.
Well, I mean, there's not much to do about it now. I mean, it's also one of those reasons why whenever I see talk about we have to get rid of nuclear weapons, I'm not that concerned about it. I'm far more concerned with chemical weapons because they're cheaper, they're easier, they're far more effective, and as you said, you know, smuggling them is not that hard.
Exactly. Yeah. Like during the 2000 Olympics, I was able to get inside the cordon with a 6-ton truck, and everyone was saying, well, what would you do? It's like, well, for anybody knows, I could have a chemical weapon device rigged to a time delay fuse that's put in a mortar inside of this fucking Salvation Army bin inside the Suzanne factory, which is inside the cordon, and I can rig this up to a telephone. I could be anywhere in the world and simply press redial. The first thing that anybody knows is the top of the bin pops off, and then something shoots out of it straight over Stadium Australia, or Allianz Stadium, I think it's called now. And then everyone sees a little cloud and doesn't think the wiser. Oh, it must be a firecracker or something like that. And then when people start getting sick, it's already too late. And you're already overseas.
Yeah. No, like I said, yeah. The thing weird, though, is when people talk about that and we talk about the doomsday scenarios, why hasn't it happened more?
Well, because people haven't gotten around to it yet. I mean, like, everyone said that, like, you know, the World Trade Center being hit by a plane was going to be, you know, an absolute extreme. In fact, they only thought that that was ever going to happen as an accident with low-lying clouds and decreased visibility. No one ever thought that someone would intentionally fly a plane into those towers. Well, they figured it out. Yeah, turn a 767 into a cruise missile. Off you go. So, yeah, they absolutely thought about it. They designed those towers to be hit by a plane, but like I said, that was supposed to be an accident when, in fact, the actual incident wasn't. And if I'd gone to you on September 10th, 2001 and said to you that 19 hijackers, 19 Arabs are going to take 4 planes and then crash them into both World Trade Center towers and the Pentagon successfully, and the other one's just going to crash into a field because blah, 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 you'd say I was a fucking fool. You'd say, what the fuck drugs are you on? Until the next day, of course.
Yeah, I remember that day. At the time, I was a bill collector, and you want to know something? There never was a more cynical group of people ever than where I was working at Security Credit Systems. Because we were joking. That's how jaded bill collectors are. You know, although not me personally, but there were people joking around the office. I was more along the lines of, man, this really sucks because most of my clients are in New York City and I can't call anybody. It really didn't sink in until later, but, you know.
Yeah, well, it didn't sink into me until the thing. It was the second tower that crashed, and I was constantly on the phone to both me mum and me mate Vecchio, who's also a firefighter, and about 5 minutes before the first tower collapsed, I just sort of had a bit of a think and a sit back and went, you know what? I think there's going to be a structural failure. And Vecchio went, nah, can't happen. And then a few minutes later, the first tower collapsed, and I said, well, if the first one's gone, the second one's going too. And he's like, nah. Because we were literally both still in a situation like, yeah, Bruce Willis is going to come and kill all the terrorists, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to come up and fucking hold everything up, and everything's going to be fine. And then the realization set in. Oh, shit, there were people on that plane. Hey, fuck, there were firefighters trying to fucking rescue those people. Oh, shit, how many did we lose? Well, 343 of them, apparently, but fuck. It took a while for me to realize it, too, and I was watching it live.
It wasn't until the next day that I found out, because I didn't know, I did everything by phone, that my client, PPP, was actually in the building. Like the office. Like not everybody in the office died, but that was the end of my client, and the end of that job there, because it stopped being profitable for me to work there. They wanted to shift me over to a different client, but I'm like, no, that's where I was making all my money. You know, but
Yeah, well, I was over in New York not like, a couple of years beforehand. I was a firearms instructor in '99, and the best part about being a firefighter is that you can go around the world, you rock up and say, "Hey, I'm a fiery," and they'll put you up for the night. Especially in America, this happens all the time in America. And I spent probably about 2 or 3 weeks or 2 and a bit weeks in New York, just bouncing around fire stations. I met a lot of those guys that died that day too, and I just like next day they had all the photos in the paper, and I'm like, know him, know him, know him. Oh fuck, not him. Ah. Anyway.
Yeah. You know, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be working at SCS. Because that was a great gig. That was a great gig. I was making so much money there. Well. The path not taken. Anyway, let's move on real quick here.
Yep.
It's a little late on this one, but I just wanted to bring it up. Al Franken quits over sexual misconduct claims. We've already kind of talked about this a couple of times through the hour, but you know, I just wanted to formally address it. You know, it's as I said before, my theory that it's something about being progressive in the whole, if it feels good, do it, that creates this lack of impulse control. I really think that's the problem.
Yeah.
The part that killed me, though, just so I can I'm remembering what my original point was. If you listen to his speech, there's this point where he goes, "The irony is that I'm leaving because of what was basically a joke, but somebody who claims that brags about his own sexual assault sits in the Oval Office." And I'm sitting there and going, he didn't brag about sexual assault. He bragged about consent, which is something you obviously don't understand. You know?
Going back to my fundamental point why I'm in trouble at the moment is with people don't listen to exactly what everybody's saying. He said they let you touch them on the fanny, not I just go up and fuck them.
Yeah, it's that whole selective hearing thing, you know. And he's here blaming this. You know what? I don't mind the truth if it's horrible. I mind it if you try to lie about the truth just because you're trying to sugarcoat it. And this is what all this guy is. He's a scumbag. He's a scumbag because he confessed. Some of the allegations are true. Okay, that right there is the difference. Okay, Donald Trump didn't confess. You did. You're the scumbag. If you want to prove he's a scumbag, take him to court.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, prove your allegations. If you can't prove it, you know, guess what? It's just an allegation. You confessed.
And the massive aversion to people using the court of public opinion as well, where like, oh, we're going to try this person on Facebook before we actually send them to court. You know, that's starting to shit me too.
It's just the spin that these progressives are trying to put on everything. And I think it's finally ending because when at my job, which is, you know, union, pretty liberal, everybody is 100% like going, no, everybody knows that Donald Trump said you let them. You know, so if you're losing the union guys, you as a progressive are losing the fight. Okay, because
they were losing from the beginning, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but no, I mean this is really bad politically wise. I mean, because they keep up these bullshit stories, and even the people who have a vested interest in believing them don't believe it. So,
wasn't his Al Franken bloke an actor once or something?
He used to be on what was it, Saturday Night Live? He was a comedian.
Oh, right. Okay. Back when it was good. Yeah. That's where I remember.
Something about being, I don't know, in Hollywood or being a progressive or being a feminist just turns you evil. I don't know what it is. Or maybe being evil attracts you to it.
Yeah, I just flicked over to the YouTube thing. Oh, here we go. You're flicking through the images there. There's, what was the fat bloke? What was his name? He died of a heart attack with fucking cocaine.
Oh, that guy, Chris Farley. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Farley. Yeah. I was just looking at the photos and I was like, oh, now I know where this bloke was.
Yeah, Chris Farley. I remember him. That was a shame.
Pity. Yeah, pity.
Oh, well.
Tell you what was an even bigger shame, Phil Hartman.
Oh, he died?
Fucking his missus went nuts and blew his head off with a shotgun and killed herself. This was years ago.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry, I just,
Yeah, that's why Troy McClure doesn't sound like Troy McClure anymore.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Hi, I'm Troy McClure, and you've seen me in videos such as big black chicks with big floppy dicks and big white chicks with little tiny fanny holes. In this video, we're going to be God, Jesus Christ.
Oh, well. Well, I mean, I don't know, something, maybe it's California, maybe there's something in the water. Maybe the state itself.
Yeah, and since it's the hippie capital of the world, I'd say it's a lot of drugs, because they actually did a survey in London of the drinking water in London, and apparently so many people are taking so much drugs that their urine is actually affecting the drinking water, and there's actually trace amounts of drugs in the drinking water as it is.
Oh, yeah, that happens in New York City, too. There's so much contraceptive and something like that. It's turning the fish. They're becoming basically trans fish in the river, because there's so much female contraceptive. All this estrogen stuff is getting into the water that it's making male fish become female.
That sounds like a South Park episode, Gay Fish. Actually, they did that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did the gay fish episode, but that's actual real biological fact is the drugs are modifying the fish. They're becoming hermaphrodite fish. It's bizarre.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised, though, if you tested the water in California and found that it had fairly high levels of THC in it, at least.
Oh, I would not surprise me at all. Would not surprise me at all. The only thing left to talk about was Wizards start banning bullies. Is Games Workshop next? Because that's the next Gamergate is Warhammer 40K.
Can't they do a spell?
Yeah, you'd think they'd just summon up like one of the demon lords of Shalanesh and have him like skull rape these fuckers, but apparently not. Honestly, I wish it would be possible to get the hold of somebody at Games Workshop and just say, look, if you give them an inch, you will lose your company. Do not just tell them to fuck off. Trust me, nobody is discriminating against women in gaming shops. I've been there. When a woman shows up, the gamers, they all get like scared and they like freeze because it's like, it's a female. Don't make any sudden moves. It might run off. Yeah,
I thought it was funny when Anita Sarkeesian came out about how all these militant women or warrior women in games and stuff like that were all, voluptuous, curvy, this, that, and the other thing. And I did a video and I basically just brought up Kurdish women fighters, and they're basically all the same.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know what? There was this great one somebody told me. What was it? They're sitting around going, black people in America are 15% of the population, but make up 33% of the people in jail. What does that tell us? Well, that tells us that America is incredibly racist against black people. Yes, and that this is discrimination. Yes, and that this is obviously class warfare as well, because most of the people in jail are poor. Yes, and then somebody says, by the way, in jail, 90% men only make up 48% of the population, yet make up over 90% of the population in jail. Does that mean men are being discriminated against? No, it's because men are inherently violent.
Yeah, well,
wait a minute. If it's all about society everywhere else, why is it biology when it comes to men? Oh, wait, it's because it's a group that you hate. Gotcha. Feminism.
I don't see many Muslim women fucking joining ISIS voluntarily, anyway. Yeah. Oh. Here's a magic joke for you.
Okay, shoot.
A woman walks into a shop and it sells magic stuff, and she says to the bloke behind the counter, "Okay, what's something special you've got?" And he says, "Well, I've got this magic dildo." She says, "What?" He says, "Yeah, it's a dildo. You can command it and it'll go by itself. It's like, dildo, move across the counter." And this thing moved across the counter, and she goes, And he says, right, you try it. And she goes, well, dildo, move across the counter. And it moved across the counter. She goes, well, how do I use it? And he just goes, simple. And he covers his mouth so the dildo couldn't hear. And he just goes, just say, dildo, my pussy. And then it'll just go to your fanny hole and start fucking you. So she thought this was brilliant. And she bought this thing and she went home and she's commanded it, dildo, my vagina. And it went straight to her fanny hole and started fucking her like crazy. And she's going off about this. She's loving this shit. Meanwhile, her husband's come home and he's come in to see her writhing around, fucking carrying on all sorts of shit. And fucking, he's like, what the fuck is going on here? And she's like, magic dildo out. And it flopped out, went across the floor. And then the husband was even more confused. And he's like, well, what the shit was that? And she goes, oh, it's my magic dildo. And he says, what the fuck is a magic dildo? And she says, oh, well, I just command it and it just does what it does. And he goes, oh, magic dildo, my ass.
Oh! Kind of saw that coming, but magic dildo, my ass.
It was a magic joke.
That is a magic joke.
Oh dear. I'm going to run out of jokes someday.
Well, we are actually at the end of topics, unless there was something you wanted to address at this point. Wow, we've been going for 3 hours. Okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah, well, almost 3 hours. Probably a little bit less. All right, well, this looks like a good place to wrap things up. I do need to get back to work and get some stuff done. But it has been real and it has been fun. And I think it has been real fun tonight. Probably a lot longer than anybody was expecting. But, hey, maybe somebody out there will get bored and actually listen through the whole thing. I think it's been an interesting night. I think we've been keeping up on things.
Can I do one little quick joke?
Oh, go right ahead. Why not?
Okay.
Bring us home.
So you remember the bum and fuck it joke from last week, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, remember at the end of that, there was this lady the bloke the kid turned to and spoke to? Right. Well, she had a cat, and her cat's name was Titswobble. And one day the cat went away, and she put up posters everywhere, you know, if you find this cat, come and see me, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, nothing happened, and she went to the police to report it. And she walks into the police station and says, like, puts a poster down on the counter and says to the officer behind the counter, have you seen my tits wobble? And he simply looks up and goes, no, but I'd like to.
Dun-dun-dun.
Okay, we can stop annoying people now.
No, I think that's the perfect way to end this. Any rate, it's been real and it's been fun. I think it's been real fun. I think we're going to wrap things up here. Hey, Jacob, you stuck it all the way through. I figured you would have passed out by now. Any rate, you want to take us out of here, Farty? Works for me.